Hello everyone, and welcome to Straight Chilling. Each week we watch and review a horror film for your entertainment. You can send all questions and comments to straightchillingpodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to keep chilling.
Yeah, we straight chillin', serial killin'. 5 cold feelings on the mind, got you reelin'. 5-star ratings from the floor to the ceiling. If you get your 1 star, no time for feelings. Got a demon DJ, all the 1s and 2s. By the name Elzebub, so don't get confused. So grab a seat by the fire, roast them all in 2. And prepare to hear the legend of the Straight Chillin' crew.
What up, nerds? Welcome to the last episode of 2019. Another year has gone by, and here we are, still talking. Can't believe it. We're going to be talking about our top 10 of the year, as always. Before we get into it, let me introduce everyone else on the show. First up, calling in from my dining room table, we got our boy Randy Gandy G. Landy.
It smells like up dog in here.
What's up? Oh, I did it!
Ah, you did it.
Oh,
was that on
shit.
purpose?
Yes, of course.
right.
Of
right.
course. Last but not least, also calling in from my dining room table, it's Soju. What's up, Soju?
What up? It's your boy. Soju.
Oh my god.
You were literally shaking with excitement.
This
I
is
would like to point
a
out.
chihuahua in heat sitting next to me.
Whoa, here we go. The boys are back. The boys are back.
Boys are back in town.
It's the first
What?
time we have all been in the same room in over 2 years.
Over
on,
2 years.
on record.
On record.
True. We've been in the same digital room, but not physical room. Mm-hmm. So let's clear that up. Randy, you've got some bullshit.
I got some bullshit.
What is this?
Oh, Malort.
Oh, Malort, indeed. We have here Jepson's Malort liquor, direct from Chicago, USA, and we are all going to do a shot of this bullshit right here.
Yeah.
We have all brought liquor from our hometowns.
Our home.
Dude, that's a full shot. That's
That's not mine.
Randy's
Randy's
shot.
No.
God in heaven, there's so
That's
much.
too much. I'm going to spill it.
Yeah, it is gonna get everywhere.
You're gonna drink it, and you're gonna grow some hair on your chest.
Move it without spilling
Yeah.
it.
God, Randy.
I'll drink that one then.
If you're listening
all full.
and are unfamiliar with Jepson's Malort, it is notoriously disgusting. There's actually a really funny video of this guy drinking it on YouTube and like getting really, really disgustingly wasted on it, and he pukes.
Oh,
it's
God.
hilarious. It's actually like an ad for Malort.
Oh yeah, this is what they're known for.
They embrace how terrible it is. So now we get to drink this for the first time, and I'm
not
not
second time for me.
not excited about
I'm
it.
here to share with you the pain.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
we ready? All right.
Yep, here we go.
Shall we all say Malort?
Oh,
Malort.
Cheers.
Oh, it's spilling.
Everywhere. It's getting
Spilling.
everywhere. Oh my god.
Oh, it's so gross. It's
Ah! No!
All right, we're gonna keep drinking this all night long.
That is awful. And it's still in my mouth. It won't.
Yeah, that's
It,
the magic.
it lingers.
That's the tonic.
It tastes.
how would you describe this?
It tastes like Windex. It tastes like glass
See,
cleaner.
to me, it tastes exactly like cologne, but with a bad smell. A bad
That tastes
smell.
like a liquid cactus to me.
Oh man.
It tastes the way Windex smells. It's still in my mouth.
Hey,
It's
would anyone
terrible.
like a Tic Tac?
Oh my
Is it
god.
Malort flavored?
Oh yeah, they got the Malort flavored Tic Tacs now.
This is
That was
as bad as
terrible.
advertised.
Now you get to listen to sucking on some Tic Tacs.
All right.
Special ep.
And from the land of Southern Korea, I was able to bring in the legit soju. Here we
You
go.
smuggled it in. You're
I
a
smuggled
soju
it in.
smuggler.
I know. It didn't break. I was worried. They come in glass bottles.
This is
If this doesn't make me rich, it's not real alcohol. That's what I've learned.
This is what, grapefruit flavor?
This is grapefruit flavor. It's not my fave, but It was
It's
the
got a
one that
little
was
froggy
available.
in the corner of
Yeah.
the label. That's
It's all
nice.
right. It's all right. But you can drink it straight.
Yeah.
It's essentially the same strength of grain alcohol, but you can drink it straight from the bottle.
It's pretty good.
How wonderful is that?
It's a tasty little taster chin.
Yeah.
Taster.
Soju's up, everyone.
Cheers.
God,
This is the drinking cast.
soul
so you know
juice
it's going to be
stains.
good.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're-
yeah. I've already had one this year, so
Soju.
I might teetotal a little after this.
We are getting turned up here at the top of the show.
Oh, yes.
We got a lot to get through today.
Buckle in.
What do we got to get through today, baby?
Okay.
We got the top 10.
Yeah, we're talking top 10. Before we get into it, a little bit of housekeeping. What do we got here? First up, at the time you're going to be hearing this, there's only a few days left to vote in our January poll pick. The theme for January is going to be our redemption pick. All three of these movies we've done a show on, but we want to revisit them, maybe get a little bit deeper into the analysis. The movies you can vote on are Evil Dead 2, Scream, and The Exorcist. Scream's winning. Evil Dead 2 and The Exorcist are still tied, but if I think one or the other could come up and overtake Scream. It's a possibility. They're not falling that far behind.
Okay. If people change their votes, that's all
Yeah.
people have to do. is
Probably,
change their votes.
probably would have to.
That's
But you know,
the American way.
they voted correctly so far. So
Well.
let's go ahead and get that out of the way
Everyone
right now.
knows how I feel at this point.
Yeah, we do. Also, at the time you were hearing this, the You Picked the Flick tier has officially been up on our Patreon website. We actually opened it today, which the day that we are currently recording is December 22nd, 2019. I think there's 2 spots open currently, which may or may not still be there, but it's worth checking out. Have a look and see if you are interested in picking a movie for us to review. You can only do that through our Patreon website, so have a look and see if those spots are still available if you are intrigued by that. That's all I got. Justin, why don't you talk about Bracket of Blood stuff, whatever else you got.
Bracket of blood. Yeah.
Bracket of Blood.
We are recording this early, so it's hard to say, but by the time you're hearing this, our round 1 macabre division has finished up. That is, all 4 divisions have wrapped up now. The way we are going to end the year is going to be the wild card round. So that is the 4 highest films from each division that didn't win that division. So they're going to get one more shot to move on to round 2. So that's 4 movies from the killer division, 4 movies from the monsters division, 4 movies from the haunters division, and 4 movies from the macabre. That's going to be our last bracket of the year.
And of round 1.
And of round 1. After that, we are really getting into it. That's going to be round 2 starting next Monday at midnight. And that's going to be all the films that have won. And they're going to be going head to head. And it's going to get a lot harder from here on out. These are the big heavy hitters trying to decide what is the greatest horror film
The greatest.
of the past 10 years.
There can
of the
only be one.
decade. There can only be
Only
one.
one.
So please visit our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. On there, you will find the bracket of blood, and you can vote. Please help us decide what is the greatest horror film of the decade.
We're recording this early, but as of recording time, there are 3 wild card rounds, 3 wild card matchups chosen.
Okay.
I'm just going to go and read them off.
Yeah,
since
yeah,
it's a little bit. We got Halloween 2018
Okay.
versus You're Next versus Creep versus Bone Tomahawk. That is the Killers Division wild card.
Okay.
Some pretty solid movies in there, I would
Creep's
say.
going to take it, I think.
Oh my
Bob.
God. No, that movie sucks.
For the Monsters Division, we have Ex Machina versus Annihilation
Nice.
versus Troll Hunter versus What We Do in the Shadows.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of
tough
good.
one. Man.
And then the next round we have is the Haunters round, and we have Hell House LLC,
Okay.
The Babadook,
Ooh.
The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and The Innkeepers.
Okay.
There's
Very
a clear front
good.
runner for me there, but I don't know about others.
Wow. Okay.
And then Macabre, as of recording time, undecided. So
Yes. All right.
Nice.
Wild cards. Those, ooh. And that's just like a little taste, I feel like, about how hard this bracket of blood's about to get, because like they're all like heavy hitters now.
Yeah.
You
We're
gotta
starting to get some
decide.
really interesting matchups that are going to
Yeah,
come up.
they're
I've been
gonna
making
get-
the graphics, and I'm like, oh shit, that's going to be a tough one to call.
More and more difficult each time, I think.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
so
can
I
only
would
be
say-
one.
Yeah.
I would say it's going to get harder each round. You know?
That who would say that? I think Tusk is going to win it. I think it's
think-
going to Tusk.
Tusk is definitely going to somehow come back.
it'll be
and
back.
Take it all.
Tusk has an
somehow.
immunity idol, and it's
it'll be
coming
back.
back in the fourth round.
God, nerds.
Okay, TuskFan101 at gmail.com.
That's my Hotmail actually, not my Gmail.
So sorry.
Got to set that straight.
Didn't get it in time for Gmail.
I thought it was Hot Bob 69.
69
No, that's the
420.
NSFW Gmail account.
That's where all the dick pics go. That's
Yeah,
if you want to
that's-
send me a dick pic, send it to that email address.
You're going to get sued by whoever actually has that.
Hot
account.
Bob 69 at
Hotbob69 is
hotmail.com.
suing your ass.
Bring it on. Enjoy the dicks.
Enjoy the dance.
That's all the housekeeping, I think, right? We didn't forget anything.
I think so.
We got a lot of shit going
This
on.
Our house is
has
clean.
been kept.
It's been kept. Let's go ahead and get into this. So we're talking top 10 of 2019. We're going to do this round table style. We're starting at number 10, working up to our number 1. We'll take it one at a time. Randy, do you want to kick us off here?
Yeah, I could
Start with your number 10. The people want to know what you liked this year.
I don't believe you, but
Let
I
them
will
know.
tell you. So my number, first of all, preface, and I think this will probably apply to everyone. We all have moving targets for our top 10s. You know, some
Sure.
days one looks more appealing than the other.
Yeah.
This is what it looked like as of recording time. So for my number 10, I have Godzilla King of the Monsters, released this May.
Nice choice.
Yeah, which was, I mean, I gave a lot of shit to that movie during our podcast recording for that episode, but I did enjoy it, and I think it is what you kind of want out of a Godzilla movie. I mean, there's a couple different trains of thoughts on that. Our boys at Gargantucast could probably weigh in a little bit on how that goes, but for me, I thought it was a fun monster movie with just enough science fiction and just enough magical science fiction to make it silly and fun.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for my taste, like, if you think about it too hard, it's going to fall apart like any other kaiju movie that I've seen personally. So, yeah, I'd give it a number 10 spot.
Solid. Yeah, Michael Dougherty, too, man. That's
Dougherty,
his third
yeah.
movie. He's doing well for himself. Even if that plot is dumb as shit, the monsters are cool.
Yeah,
I
and
love
there's
all
cool
3 of
battles.
his movies at this point.
Yeah.
So, man,
He's
get on
killing
that
it.
guy.
He is killing it.
Like, the battles between the different kaiju, like, it really is everything you want out of, especially a kaiju battle movie. Not
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
Godzilla shows up. We've seen a few versions of that in America. But for an American release featuring straight up battles between monsters, this really ups the ante from the last one.
The
for
only
my
one I
opinion.
would
For
definitely
my money,
put
excuse me.
above that would be the Matthew Broderick Godzilla movie.
Because you're a monster.
From what year was that, Bob?
99?
98.
98?
Was
I
it?
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was when Kashmir was overlaid with Puff Daddy.
I wonder if that soundtrack is any good.
Oh, yeah.
I know I legitimately owned it as a child and liked it.
You know what I always thought Godzilla needed? A big old chin.
Oh my gosh.
A Batman style.
Oh,
chin.
yeah.
The only thing that can improve Led Zeppelin is Puff Daddy. That is scientific fact.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to remix it. He's got to.
He
It's
has
in his
to.
contract.
Got to.
Juice, what about you, man? What's your number 10?
So the 10 and even maybe the 9 spot is always tough because there's some that are always going to be like so close, and I think we'll maybe do like an honorable mentions, but so it's always kind of going back and forth on that one. But I ended with Haunt at
okay.
number
Really?
10. I did, and it's we were talking just maybe I think last episode is how you kind of talk about some of your favorite movies, and a lot of them tend to are like ones that you watch over and over and over are like seasonal ones. You want to watch it when the season comes out. So when like a new movie comes out and specifically like centered around Halloween, like I appreciate that. You kind of want to mix it up a bit and stuff like that. And Haunt, we talked about it in our review of it, and it kind of subverted some expectations. They didn't take a lot of the cheap routes that they could have taken. I appreciate some of the choices that they made, what they did with the people and the mask, and that kind of twist in the middle of it really kind of took me by surprise. And I'm looking forward to maybe adding that to the repertoire,
the Halloween list.
Yeah, the Halloween list, and if not every year, at least to have like a movie that I know is going to be like solid and decent to mix in like maybe every other year or something like that.
I don't know if it's an every year watch, but I can see watching it in a couple of years. Sure.
Yeah, just to mix it up. So yeah, I thought that would earn its kind of place on the list.
I like
Fair
that.
enough.
Solid.
Yeah. I do like those the reveal under the masks. I love that.
Yeah. This, when we talk about these movies, it might get a little spoilery. I guess we might.
I
not.
guess we kind of are already.
We kind of have to in a way, because like to describe why these movies are on our list.
Yeah.
Maybe not like, I don't know.
Not go super
just-
in depth.
Yeah,
but
but
you might
we'll
get some spoilers.
We'll be light spoiler warning.
We'll be coy, but we can't be perfectly coy.
Right. My number 10 there's a lot of movies that we're kind of like vying for this.
Yeah, they
10
always
spot.
do. The 10 spot is so tough.
It's so much easier in the top like 5.
Yeah, the top 5 are like very clear, and then you're like, man, the bottom 5. There's like 10 or 15 movies that maybe could go in there. But also like when making this list, you kind of want to keep a nice balance of like a finely crafted movie and also like just a movie that you really enjoyed to watch. Find the balance there. But I'm gonna come in with Black Christmas.
And I haven't seen that, but you mentioned that you liked it quite a bit.
I enjoyed it. It's not a perfect slasher movie in that, like, if you go in expecting like what you would get from a Halloween movie or even the original.
Is there a Banh Mi?
There's this movie's all about sandwiches.
Oh,
because there's a lot of girls in it, and they're all making sandwiches.
Wow,
Bob,
I can't go into 2020 on that note. Jesus Christ,
I don't like politics in my horror, Bob.
Low hanging fruit. That's true.
We like to clinically separate all upper thinking from our horror movies.
Right. This movie it's not perfect. Some of like the logic is a little crazy, but I will say, listening to an interview with Sophia Takal, who's the director of this movie, fucking Ghoulish Cast had her on, and she was talking about her varying influences when she was making this movie, and she dropped Indiana Jones, and I was like, oh, that makes so much sense now. Like, after having seen this movie, there's a little bit of Indiana Jones rubbed on it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm very interested by that.
But it is very like it has something to say, and it comes out wearing it on its sleeve. It's very much about like the patriarchy and like rape culture and terrible shit like that.
Early in the episode,
I know,
man.
Dude. Malort is hard.
Dude, only 2 of us finished a shot. I'm just gonna say that much.
Yeah,
There is a half a shot waiting for someone.
Who's it sitting in front of? I think
Justin. Yeah. But I don't. For what this movie's doing, what it's trying to say, and the fact that it took like sort of a classic slasher movie and we get another version of it through a different filter. It's just I really enjoyed it. The whole movie, I really enjoyed it. It's atmospheric. It's solidly Christmas. And it's one that I definitely intend to, like you were saying, Justin, revisit during the holidays and stuff like that. So I think it's worth checking out. Black Christmas.
Cool. Those are the 10 spots.
10 spots.
The old 10.
The old 10.
It's already checked off the list.
All right, we going to 9.
Going to 9. Take it, Randy.
You want me? I'm taking it. All right.
Yeah, it's you.
So for my number 9, we're going to keep in this order. That's great. Okay. I'm just establishing the rules for myself.
Malort is distracting. Continue. Sorry.
Well, there's another shot if you
I
need it.
won't.
It'll straighten you out.
I
They
won't.
say the first shot is terrible, but the second one straightens you the fuck out.
No one says that.
They all say it. It's the tagline. It's right here on the bottle. Here, I'll just pour it. You just trust me on that. All right, my number 9 is actually for similar reasons that Justin described in some respects. Is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Okay.
Nice.
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, which came out in August, and just in relating to Haunt, I had the same feelings about this movie as he had towards Haunt in terms of the holiday of Halloween. To me, it starts out a pretty strong Halloween movie. Starts on Halloween night. It spends a lot of time there. I thought it would be a little bit more entrenched in that, and it wasn't. They spent a little more time the following days and weeks, I believe. But I enjoyed it on that level, and I had a huge Halloween-gasm right at the beginning of this movie.
Right, yeah.
And I would certainly watch this again next Halloween, and maybe not every Halloween, but it'll be in my rotation, I think. And setting that aside, though, I think this movie kind of is the best spiritual adaptation of its source material that we've seen all year. And what I mean by that is, if you go back and read these Scary Stories books the way that, I read them as kids, and I went back and read them as an adult a couple years ago, and those stories are silly. They're silly, childlike stories that are really, really elevated by these strong illustrations. And I wish I could remember the name of the artist off the top of my head, but I can't. Ghoulish Cast did another, not to plug everybody.
Right.
But
We
Ghoulish
have
Cast,
friends.
Yeah. Ghoulish Cast did an interview with the artist from those books, and that really elevated it to an actual spooky thing that haunts you as a kid when you have sort of a simple idea of what's scary. And that's kind of what this movie does. It takes silly ideas that are not fully formed and don't really have every bit of logic fleshed out for them, but what they have is a visual that counts. And I think that this movie really had visuals that counted in most cases, and they translated them from the books quite well. Yeah, the illustrator is Alvin Schwartz. So yeah, and I follow him on Instagram. He does some good fucking shit to this day. It's great. It's a good movie, and I think it works really well in towards the holidays. That's really what earned it its spot for me.
I hear you. Solid pick, man. Del Toro produced as well.
Exactly.
Juice, what about you?
Number 9 is going to be Brightburn.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, Brightburn was number 9. Not a perfect film. It's got some problems, but I like some of the choices that we made. Of course, we are just oversaturated with the superhero film, so it's kind of cool for them to take that route, but be so blatant about it. I remember even leading up to it with the trailers and everything, we were like, this is Superman. They're not even trying to shy away from it. I still don't know how they got away with licensing and stuff like that, but they essentially made an evil Superman movie, and with a kid, which I thought was a cool choice. Him coming into his powers and stuff like that, and there was a lot of brutality, surprisingly, in that film. There's a couple of scenes specifically where it just really kind of made me gasp, oh wow, they actually went there, they did that, that's really messed up. So it wasn't a film that I thought was perfect, or that I don't know. I mean, I think it definitely earned its place for me in the top 10, just from that aspect, because I do enjoy watching the superhero films, and it was cool just to see a different take on it. And most of the choices they made, I thought were good. My biggest beef with it was I wanted more story, or more kind of character development that fleshed out a little bit, but they kind of lean more just into the dark horror aspect, which is fine too, because they did that aspect well. I just kind of wanted more meat to it a little bit, but for what they seemed to intend for, they kind of pulled it off well. And yeah, so number 9 spot.
Solid, man. That movie had one scene that kind of blew my mind a little bit. It's like a POV scene of this woman in a diner, and she gets...
That's definitely the best scene.
She starts bleeding in her eyes or something like that, but from her perspective, we're seeing everything
glass
red.
in her eye, all the windows shatter.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of brilliant. I was like, man, how has that
amazing scene.
Not been in so many movies before? I thought it was a nice touch. Touch. My number 9. I'm gonna come in with Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Okay.
My number 9. This is directed by Issa Lopez, and this was a movie that was a Shudder exclusive. I know technically this movie had been released prior to this year, but it wasn't wide released. It wasn't released
US
physically.
release.
Yeah, it was very hard to see unless you went to a film festival to watch it.
Just for the record, established is a parameter that we accept. If it's
Right.
US released, within this
year.
year, then we
Yeah.
consider it a new release for
Right.
ourselves,
And
'cause we're American pieces of shit.
Right, yeah. And not everybody can fly out to Colorado to go to a film
I
festival.
want to be able to talk about this movie,
Right.
and I didn't get to last year. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is she's a Mexican filmmaker, very much stylistically influenced from Del Toro, and this kind of has that vibe. It's from a child's perspective, and it's got kind of like a fairy tale vibe going for it. It's definitely about some real horrific stuff going on, but it's sort of dressed up in a way that a child might be able to interpret it based on, like, fairy tales and things of that nature. It's just like very artistically done, and it's tackling these like really heartbreaking things in a very tactful way, and I think it's just like very, very well crafted.
yeah, it's very like it's very whimsically dark.
Yeah.
If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Like it uses like whimsy as a way to relay very dark realities, which is sort of like a Del Toro stamp. So it makes a lot of sense that this movie takes so many cues from him.
Yeah. And also her next movie, I don't think it has a title yet, but it's being produced by Del Toro because he fucking finally watched this movie and is totally backing this new director. And I loved that because she was influenced by him, and he's like, all right, you're making another
Yeah,
movie.
that's gotta feel amazing for her.
Yeah.
That guy is like the Santa Claus of horror.
He's
It's fucking crazy.
He's the shit.
Yeah.
But the next movie is going to be a werewolf western she's doing.
Nice.
Jesus,
that
that
sounds
sounds
really
great.
cool.
I cannot wait to see that shit.
Especially with some of the choices that she made in this film. I really enjoyed it
Yeah.
as well. And
Yeah.
she blends like different styles really well. I remember like some of the way the tigers were animated, but as graffiti on the walls.
yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just she has a lot of cool creative choices. So that sounds great.
Yeah. So that's my number 9. Tigers Are Not Afraid.
Good choice.
Randy, number 8.
Number 8 for me. Now, this is a movie that I think it's sort of in my mind, it seems like a surprising inclusion for me specifically. But it is It Chapter 2, released this December.
Wow.
Gasp.
I am a little surprised.
I think that my reputation about the It series is a little bit negative because I was very negative at the outset of Chapter 1's release.
Yeah.
Chapter 2, I don't know if I was just prepared more for what it is, for what that series actually, how that series was made, and sort of seeing the strings that are attached to it. But I enjoyed it a lot more. And, I don't know if it was my experience just personally or what, but I thought it was a better movie. I thought it was
Wow.
more well-rounded. And to me, like it had, it had a lot more heart to it in a way that felt less manufactured. So the first movie, the biggest problem I had with it was that it felt very lab-grown and it felt very focus grouped. And just too many cooks in the kitchen.
Too many kooks.
Too many
Dude,
kooks in the
Malort
kitchen.
is hard. Too many kooks in the
We are
kitchen.
Cooks in the
chasing it with
kitchen.
soju.
Yes. Yeah, so it's to me, this movie was more enjoyable, partially because, I think a part of it is that I like the adult actors that are in this, and Bill Hader really kind of took me over the top.
He stole the movie for me.
Me too, man. And Skarsgård was as good as the last movie, but it felt just a little bit more organic to me.
Really?
And I don't know if it was because of my expectations or not. I can only go based on my own personal experience, and I probably should watch it again. But based on my current situation, the current list of movies that I could put together, it made sense for that to be in here. I thought that the scares were efficient, and I thought that as long as it was, which is a bone of contention, it was still engaging all the way through for me.
Yeah.
So I gave it the number 7 spot. 8 spot, excuse me.
Number 8 spot. I hope it was 8 on your list.
It's 8 on my list.
Okay.
I was trying to do
Malort.
stupid drunk man's math.
Malort.
Dude, that shit is nuts. It's got a lot of great set pieces. God damn, I can't talk.
We are early
I
in
know.
the show, boys.
I know there's a lot of show left. Oh, what you got, Juice? Take it.
Let me take over here. My number 8 spot is going to be Ready or Not.
Nice.
I haven't seen it yet.
Ready or Not was a solid surprise to me. I feel like it's one of those movies that came out and probably didn't get as much attention as it probably should get. It's like not gonna blow your load, I don't think, or anything. It's not like changing the game.
Don't tell me about my load.
But for like a horror, like kind of comedy, like the logic that they kind of give behind things, it's like this girl marries in this family, and they have essentially sold their soul to the devil.
Oh, I didn't know that.
To get riches. I mean, it's kind of like established pretty early on. Like
Okay.
they're just rich because they've sold their soul to the devil.
Cool.
And in order to kind of maintain that, they have to like offer a sacrifice every once in a while. And it just kind of, her luck like falls onto her. So she's got to survive this night or whatever. And it kind of kind of going hand in hand. It kind of reminded me a little bit of like Knives Out. This came out like way before
They
Knives
both
Out.
were, like, in my mind, the titles almost swapped on these a few times.
Yeah, this is definitely way more like horror based than Knives Out. It's got that kind of like sell your soul to the devil aspect, but it's like really funny and entertaining. But it's got like some really great kills and some good gore, and like the acting. Just all the people in this movie just like felt really charming and felt like on their A game, and it was just kind of like a really like kind of nice surprise. Like I said, it's like not gonna blow your mind or anything, but just for what it was, I thought it was like really solid, and yeah, it was worth a number 8.
Will it blow my load?
I don't know, Bob. Have you
Okay.
seen it?
Yes, I have.
Maybe it will be
I
higher
need to
than
see
mine.
that. I want to see
Maybe.
if my load's blown.
We'll see if it makes it.
Oh, I'm drunk. Sorry. Apologies.
Whoa, Bob can't handle
Wow.
that soju.
When Rob starts proclaiming he's drunk, he is very
So-
drunk.
Number 8. Here we go. Child's Play.
Child's Play.
Child's Play. Yeah.
the Aubrey Plaza joint.
Yeah. A lot of hate on this one. I thought it was great, man. I really did.
Great.
Yeah.
You brought it up multiple times, and you're the only reason that I have interest in seeing it.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a mini cast on it together.
We did, yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised. Great. I don't know. But tell us, Bob, why
Okay.
did it make number 8?
I have seen it again
Okay.
since, because I wanted to be sure. I was like, maybe I'm high off my ass and this movie does suck.
Yeah.
I watched it again and I enjoyed it just as much, honestly.
Okay.
It's a sneaky Christmas movie, so if you're
Yeah.
like curious about it, throw it on. 'Tis the season, whatever. But I think they did a pretty solid job. It's got a lot of comedy in it. The kills are actually pretty cool. There's not a ton of them, but there's enough to get you through. And I like how they took the doll and sort of updated it with it being able to like connect to shit via Bluetooth and stuff like that. And it's got like a camera and can record audio and video and whatnot. I don't know. I thought that was really cool.
They
I like
made mini Terminators. Is the movie.
kind of, and I like how they made it towards the end of the movie. They sort of broaden it to where it's like, oh, there are other versions, and one of them looks kind of like a teddy bear, and
That
you get
was kind of funny.
different
That was,
clothing,
yeah.
and yeah, I don't know. It's not a perfect movie. It's got some goofy bits that, you know, you're into it or you're not, but I like a healthy dose of comedy in my horror movies, and this one kind of landed for me. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Child's Play.
All right.
Randy, now it's actually time for number 7.
Oh, boy.
7.
I better
7
rally
minutes in
quick.
heaven, Randy. Give it to
So-
me.
Actually,
Pull
I'm gonna
the dick out.
I'm actually going to do the opposite because my movie for number 7 is Hagazusa. Have either of you seen
I have
Hagazusa?
not seen it.
I haven't.
So I was interested in this movie because it had a striking resemblance to one of my favorite horror films, which is The Witch.
The Vitch?
And The Vitch. The Vitch. Vitch. That one.
Okay.
So, and just in terms of trailer and all that stuff. So I watched this movie kind of on a whim one night, and I really did enjoy this fucking thing a lot. It's about as slow of a burn as you'll find, I would say. In fact, it took me 2 attempts to finish the film, which is pretty rare for me. I usually will finish in a single sitting almost any movie. But this movie, I kind of started nodding off. It's slow as shit. And that's my biggest complaint towards it, because the story itself is a really heartrending, and it's really like, it just hits you right in your gut a few times. So the story being a woman named Albrun, who's a widower who was raised by a I don't know, like whatever, like the darkest, like basically a witch, raised by a witch, and
A
was
witch?
Like, yeah, and they show this woman like being terrible to her at the beginning as a child. So there's a lot of like child abuse right up front, and I'm like, oh fuck. And then it later on she becomes I think she's a widower. If anything, she's a single mother in rural Switzerland. I forget where, but she's in the 1800s and things like this, and she's ostracized by the whole community. And then eventually, like all these things start happening around her, and she starts finding herself in these more and more horrible situations. And it's hard to watch on an emotional level. It's pretty, and it's the way it's shot is so bleak. It's just a bleak movie. There's no better word for it. And to me, it really hit me in a good way. And it made for really compelling watching. So for me, that earns a number 7 spot.
Correct.
Wow, you've intrigued me. I want to check it out now.
The Village.
Village.
Part 2 is what
Maybe
it's
I'll
called.
just
That's
watch
another
The
one
Beach
that was
again.
released some years ago, a couple of years ago, outside of the U.S. But
Yeah. That's like a super low budget movie too.
yeah, and you can see why.
It's
Because
on Shudder, right? Shudder.
I saw it on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
So-
Maybe it's in several places then.
It might
Sponsor
be.
us, Shudder.
It's not an exclusive if it's on Shudder, but it's it's worth checking out. I will
Cool.
say, especially if you like The Witch, if you like slow burns, if you like period piece sort of horror, watch it. You'll get something out of it.
I got to check that out. Nice. Juice, what about you?
Number 7 is something that has been brought up before. Tigers Are Not Afraid. It's going to make my 7.
Nice.
I did really enjoy it. I'm really intrigued about this director, her next film. She showed like a lot of promise in the movie. And one thing that I just wanted to add that Bob didn't necessarily touch on is like this didn't have to be a horror movie. It could have easily been a like really well-crafted film with the horror elements removed.
True. Yeah.
And I kind of really appreciate that the horror elements were included. I don't know if they necessarily like elevated the film, but to bring it into that realm and to take the other pieces of just like well-crafted like story making and like filmmaking and like all these different like well-crafted elements, and then kind of allow almost the horror elements to kind of come in and be labeled that. It's kind of how I see this movie a little bit, because I think it easily could have been made without the horror elements, but I'm glad that they're included. And it's just a really great movie with like some really cool style. And I'm really interested to see what this director does in the future. I think she'll do good things.
I think so
Good
too.
things.
Oh,
She done good. DUN good.
doing
Thanks,
good.
Issa Lopez.
Really nice.
Really
That's
nice.
real nice.
My number 7 is something that has also been mentioned previously. It's Haunt.
Haunt. Number 7.
We got some swaps.
We do. There's a
Interesting.
lot of stuff on our list that is on Shudder. Haunt is there.
Sponsor us.
Tigers Are
Man,
Not
we're
Afraid
really
is
plugging
there.
it all, aren't we?
We are. We're plugging it all,
We
even our
plugged Del Toro,
anuses.
and he is an
2020.
Oscar winner.
2020 is going to be the year when Straight Chillin' takes all the sponsors.
Yeah, we're hunting sponsors this year instead of Cooters.
Sea-Doo's calling us. Shutter's
We were
calling
solicited
us.
for some.
Kawasaki called up.
We were solicited recently for a sponsorship by Manscaped,
Manscaped.
which I guess is like a razor for your dick or
Actually,
something.
for like a middle person, a razor for your
Yeah, so you
So
don't
you can
cut your
slice up your
balls. Yeah, I don't know.
And when we just shot that to shit, so here we go. We're gonna
Razor
have,
for
really
your
have
dick.
a lot of people beating down our doors after we shit on the only offer we've ever gotten.
Beating down our boars.
Beating
Me
something.
undies.
Me undies. Oh man, yeah, Haunt. I really enjoyed it. We talked about it on the show this year. It's one of those things that it's got like a pretty strong Halloween vibe for the first half anyways, and there's a really solid reveal in the movie that it felt kind of fresh to me, even if like the overall premise of the movie isn't like super fresh. I liked what they did with it, with twisties. It's relatively horrific. It's got some cool kills. I don't know. I had a lot of fun with it for sure, especially watching it around Halloween time. It just it hit me in the right spot. So
It came out right at the right time.
yeah,
It really did.
Haunt, good stuff. Check it out. Randy, what's your number 6?
Number 6. So I'm gonna just be repeating some things here because my number 6 is Tigers Are Not Afraid.
No shit.
Yeah, a little higher than you guys, so somebody's a little more interested in the world, and therefore,
all right,
a
Malort.
better person.
Actually, I'm a little drunk too, and my number 6 was actually Tigers Are Not Afraid.
What?
I jumped the gun.
So what's okay?
This-
we'll get
this
to
is
you.
already a
I'll
shit
do a
show.
swap. I'll do a swap.
You're gonna
But me and Randy
by
are on the
virtue of
same
being
level.
drunk, you are swip swapping numbers.
Already
now.
a shit show.
So yeah, my number 6 is Tiger. So just to claim that fake pretension I just mentioned.
Damn.
Yeah, Tigers Are Not Afraid. You guys said it already. It's a great film by a green director who is now being pushed to the forefront by a horror stalwart. What's not to like about that story on its own merit? But the movie itself is incredibly moving and heartrending, and it's really tough to swallow in some ways. Just the reality of it is tough to swallow, and the way it's presented it's poetically, movingly real and
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah. You feel it.
You really do. You feel it in your loins.
I don't know about your loins.
That's not where I
Whatever.
feel it.
You feel it somewhere.
Hey,
Maybe
we're
I get
not
my
kink
loins in
shaming
some-
on this show.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm into
Let's not
tigers.
kink shame.
Let's fuck some tigers.
Let's fuck some tigers. I'm not
No.
afraid.
That's
I am
weird.
not supporting this.
But yeah, this is a great film. I'm getting drunk, but it's a great film. And it's a number 6 film for me.
Nice. Justin,
What's your number 7 film?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So number 6 actually was Tigers Are Not Afraid. My number 7 film was Godzilla King of Monsters.
Okay, cool.
So I'll talk about that a little bit now. That movie was fun as shit. I had a blast with it in the theaters, as a popcorn movie that came out in the summertime. It was really entertaining, and it did give you what you want from a Godzilla film, which is essentially just giant monsters fighting. That's what you want. And I wish that they gave me more. If they had given me more, probably would have been higher on this list. And not only that, but I've never been real big into Godzilla. I've seen a handful of films. I appreciate some of them. But what was kind of surprising to me is Chris from Gargantucast joined us when we covered that film, and he loved it just as much as I did.
Yeah.
He gave it a 5 stars. So I was
Yeah.
man, from a guy who is a huge Godzilla fan who knows his shit in and out to still enjoy it. I was that's impressive on
Yeah.
a level that I didn't get from the theater, because I was just whoa, what an amazing show. But for him to appreciate it on that level, that kind of impressed me. So that's why I took my number 7 spot.
Better than Tigers Are Not Afraid.
No, it's
Numbers
not.
are hard.
Numbers are hard.
They're-
We're learning the hard way how hard numbers are.
God in heaven. Twisted on that Malort and that soju. It's too
man.
much.
I gotta get it's twisted on some monster. Keep my ass awake.
Yep, Red Bull time.
Let me come in with my actual number 6 real quick. It's going to be One Cut of the Dead.
Oh baby,
Number
talk
6.
dirty to my ass.
Damn,
Show
right
me that
into
ass.
that ass.
I'm talking to it. Again, this is another one that was released prior to 2019. But the thing is, it was very hard to track down. It got a wide release in America on Shudder this year, so we're counting it. This movie is a zombie movie, which sounds uninteresting. However,
2019, yeah, it does.
yeah, for sure. However, what they did with it is unlike any zombie movie, or really just any movie I had seen before. It's very much, without totally spoiling it, they take a typical 3-act structure and kind of throw it out the door, and they do whatever they want. It's essentially, it starts off with one long take of a zombie movie, and then you kind of get a lot of what you might expect, and then after that, shit goes wild. I don't want to really fully
one
get
to talk
into it.
about.
Yeah, but it's very different, and it was a super low budget movie. It stayed in the cinemas in Japan for years and made a million times its budget. It's one that it felt refreshing, I guess, and it definitely sticks in my mind, and it's one that I like to rewatch and introduce people to if they hadn't seen it before. So it's definitely worth your time. It's on Shudder. One Cut of the Dead. Zombies don't suck.
Not always.
Not always.
Sometimes they eat.
What's your number 5, Randy?
So speaking of introducing people to One Cut of the Dead, my number 5 is One Cut of the Dead. And
oh my gosh.
yeah, I enjoyed the fuck out of this movie. And again, it's tough to talk about without, like, it's tough to talk about the exact reasons why it's so interesting as above other movies that are similar within the zombie genre. But it really doesn't have any peers. That's the reality. Like, once you watch it, you'll understand why this movie doesn't have... It has peers in the zombie genre, but it doesn't have any direct corollaries. There's no parallel movie to this that I know of. It does something that I've never seen done in any other genre either, that really breaks format and really plays with just filmmaking. And it was a joy on that level. Yeah. And for me, it was like, really, joy is like the best word from my experience watching this movie. I was just like grinning ear to ear by the end of this movie, because it's like, it's silly and it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it also takes its conceit very seriously.
Yeah.
It is committed to its conceit in a way that's tough to describe on this podcast. But I will say that if you watch it, I will endorse it as well. It's my number 5. And I think that, Rob, you were the reason that I watched that. So congrats to you.
Nice. It's got a lot of heart, man.
It's a fun fucking movie to watch. It's, oh man, there's a lot of good comedy in it. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Huh. I have not seen this movie, but both of you guys have me intrigued.
It's good. I'll show it to you.
Dude, show me.
Show me.
Do you have the 4K? I will
have
only
tastes
watch
that
it
are very
in 4K.
Particular.
I have the Blu Ray, but it is region free.
Oh.
With a slip cover.
Oh, is it holographic?
No!
Oh, no.
Well,
Sorry.
blue balls it is then.
Sorry, fellers. Time for another shot of Malort.
No.
That is a joke. Randy took a half shot of Malort right now. Oh my
you
God.
poor man.
Oh, I want to hug you because it sucks so bad. I'm so sorry for you.
Unleash the beast.
We're only halfway through.
Oh, God. Juice, what's your number 6?
Nope. Number 5.
Number 5. No, you're number 6.
Well,
This is your number 6.
No.
this is number 5. Actually, you're right. I fucked up. It's number 5.
Oh
It's
my
all
God.
number 5.
We're so... This is a shit show.
We're fucked.
That
We're
was
fucked.
Randy's
We're
number
completely
5. And now this is Justin's number 5.
Yes.
I fucked
Number 5 is going to be Jordan Peele's Us.
Ooh.
His sophomore film following Get Out, which was really well received, which I liked a lot. And this movie came out in April, I think, maybe late March, earlier in the year. And
It was March.
was it? I feel like it's a little overhyped now that I've had like quite a bit of time to just kind of sit with it, and everybody's had quite a bit of time to sit with it. I still feel like it's a bit overhyped, but for this year and for like horror specifically, going against other films, I think it has a unique premise. I think it deals with a lot of kind of like unique ideas compared to some other things. Like, it's not just like another zombie movie, or it's not just like another monster movie. It's got some unique elements, and a lot of them are handled well. The acting is done really well. It has some great horror moments. I do think it is a little overhyped. But that's just my personal opinion. And I would actually like to see it again. It actually was on the plane. I didn't
Okay, your beer wasn't good.
I didn't. No. I didn't watch it, but when I go back, I plan to watch it going back, because it is a film I want to revisit and get kind of maybe a better look at now that it's kind of died down a little bit. You know, it's been almost like 8 months now. So yeah, but yeah, Jordan Peele's Us.
Solid. My number 5 is Ready or Not.
Oh, cool.
Here I
my number 5.
Wow, liked it more than I did.
I did. apparently, because we're ranking movies. This movie, I don't know, it's just a lot of fun. I had a really, really good time watching
sad
it.
I haven't
It's
seen this
fun.
yet, no.
Yeah.
Really good time watching it in the movie theater. The premise is goofy, and they just kind of lean into that. And like the evil family is, they're just like so inept. They're just not really dealing with any of this very well. And the lead actress, I can't think of her name right now. She just like
Is it Tamara something?
that is definitely not it.
Then I don't know shit.
She's just like so expressive and just can like hold your attention so well. She was in The Babysitter previously. I don't know. She just really like kind of steals the show. And the ending, without spoiling it, is shocking and fantastic. It's just a lot of fun. It's probably the most fun I had actually like going to the theater this year.
Yeah, I
Samara
would say so,
Weaving.
and it's
Samara Weaving.
Close.
Yeah.
Tamara, Samara.
Thank you. Yeah, that was.
And
Yeah.
it's and it was like a surprising amount of fun.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what really kind of caught me too. I was like, oh wow, I really enjoy this.
This is a bit of a ride. All right.
Yeah. What a
Here we
fun
go.
romp.
Whoa.
Romp. Randy, it's your turn for your number 4
Number
pick.
4.
Well,
Randy.
we're gonna
Numbers.
start-
We know numbers.
Staying on the rails.
We're going to start repeating ourselves quite a bit as we
scotch.
get towards the end here. And I'm going to start repeating with Us, released in March.
Ooh.
Us,
Okay.
Jordan Peele's Us. It's tough to say Us without initially saying Jordan Peele.
It is,
because
yeah.
otherwise people think you're starting a sentence that you've chosen not to finish. So I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I think that, like Justin, a little distance has hardened me just a tad, and I think it is a little overhyped.
How hard?
Oh, it's so hard.
Okay.
Okay. I would say that this movie is, for my taste, like watching it originally, it had me thinking. My mind was going. I was firing on all cylinders, trying to like figure this movie out. It's clearly a puzzle for me to like sort of piece together. And approaching it that way, I had a great time. And I feel like I sort of like nailed a reasonable interpretation of the events that I saw pretty soon after walking out of the theater. I don't think that was universal. And I think to that end, as a director, like I don't necessarily know what Peele's intentions were, but if it was to be a universally beloved horror movie that it breaks, that breaks across genre lines and gets a lot of new people in the way Get Out was, I don't think that it was great at that. I think that it was a little too complex, a little too oblique to really pull in your average moviegoer or a non-horror fan or somebody that's not super familiar with sort of like heavily political tones or heavily like a lot of subtext, shall we say. So for me, I enjoyed it, and I can absolutely see why people were less enthused by this movie than Get Out. And it was clearly like everybody was thinking of Get Out when I saw this movie. The difference between the two being its palatability for wider audiences. And in that way, I think this movie, in a way that it hasn't failed in any other way, I think it fails at that. It's a little less palatable. But what I think it excels at, which Get Out did not do, was horror iconography. This movie strives, and it tries so hard and succeeds, in my mind, of creating strong horror iconography and imagery. And in that end, I think that it excels above any other movie this year. And maybe in several years. The scissors, the outfit, just the manner of speaking of Lupita Nyong'o. I'm fucking that up. I apologize. Drinking. But like all of those like elements come together. Like it's clear that Jordan wanted to make something that could be adapted and used by horror fans, and I appreciate that a lot. So I think that for that reason alone, it's my number 4.
Yeah.
4.
Some good points.
Man, a lot of numbers. Too
Yeah.
many numbers.
Too many
We're
numbers.
going to get into so many numbers
Oh
today.
my God. Justin, number 4. What you got?
Number 4, and it's interesting. We've even touched on a couple of them so far, but my number 4 is going to be Lords of Chaos.
Oh.
And what I mean by like
about
we've
that movie.
touched on a little bit is like this genre of like horror, like Lords of Chaos. It's like not straight horror. It's like real life horror. It's this documentary, or it's documentary like style about real life events that happen with this like death metal band, Norwegian black metal. I'm sorry.
You are.
On the
You have
genre
pissed
fans out
off
there.
a lot of
Yeah.
people just now.
People that are willing to murder.
But and so we kind of get into this thing where like, oh, it's like a drama that blends horror elements or thing. I don't know, but I really enjoyed it as a film. It was one of my favorite films that I saw this year, and because it lacked some horror elements, I didn't put it higher. Since this is top 10 like horror films of the year, I tried to like take that into consideration. But I just, as a film, I really enjoyed this film. It kind of took me by surprise. It is, I guess, more of kind of like a drama. But I have since this movie, we reviewed it in maybe April or May. It has I have thought about this movie so much, and it has led me to like research this band.
Yeah.
It has led me like so many times now I see like recommended on the right side of my YouTube is like this dude's album, all Vaughn or
Varg Vickers.
Yeah, the Count. I was his like music, like on the side of that, I've just kind of like checked out like Norwegian black metal or black metal, like more, and just like listen to other people talk about it. It's just like really kind of brought me a little bit more into this culture and like made me more aware of it and has made me think a lot. And I think it's just a really cool film that like struck a chord with me. I don't know, like we had talked a little bit just kind of like about
chord.
music scenes and stuff like that, and growing up when we were younger. When I was a teenager, just a couple years ago.
Oh, Malort.
God, that is not even the Malort talking. It's
It
just
is-
the pretension.
It is. It was just I don't know. It really struck a chord. I thought it was a cool movie, and also just old Culkin, man, not Macaulay, but
said
Rory.
Hulk.
Rory.
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, man. Just
Oh,
killed it
man.
in this movie.
No, Rory. That family, they can act their asses off. I don't know. They're just a really kind of like charming, like
Succession.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
man.
will say.
They do a good job. So
Is that Kieran? Kieran?
no,
I think that's
Oh.
Kieran.
Cool.
Rory's
Rory.
No, I'm
Rory's
talking
in the
about
movie, but-
Succession now. Sorry.
Succession, I think it's Kieran.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
family full of actors
Culkins.
in
They
that.
all have weird names.
But they all do a pretty good job.
They do,
from what
yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen.
Very
Yeah.
capable people.
and they
in
all
terms
look
of acting.
very, very similar.
They are related.
gotta look.
Yeah,
They have
gotta
You
look.
could spot a Culkin from a mile away. But I really, really enjoyed Lords of Chaos, and if it had more of a straight horror element, it would have been higher on my list. Like as far as like, it's one of my like most enjoyed just films all around that I saw this year. But since it wasn't like straight horror, I kind of knocked it down a couple pegs. I knew Bob would just give me this side. I'm just kidding. I'm just
Oh, Malort.
Bob.
Oh,
calm down.
Malort.
Okay, stop beating me.
What? Okay. Number 4. We're talking number 4. I'm going to drop Midsummer.
Oh.
Midsommar.
So low.
Midsommar. Number 4. That's pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Ari Aster's.
Ari Aster.
Leo Ari Aster.
Ari Aster.
Damn.
He is in Harry Potter. He's, I don't know. This movie really stood out to me, not just this year, but like just in general. There's not a whole lot like this. It starts off very dark, gloomy, heavy, and then when the characters go on their little trip, it's just like flips everything that you would expect a horror movie to be right on its head, and everything is like brightly lit pastel colors in the middle of a field. It's all during the daytime. It's not what you would expect, and it really like left an impression on me. And I think this guy is just somebody who's got such a strong voice, and the choices that he makes are just like fucked up. They're really fucked up.
You can tell this guy's dealing with some shit.
Yeah, and I think he's said as much in interviews, but he doesn't really get into it. And I'm very curious about his life and his upbringing.
Thought he did. I thought he had like a major breakup during this film or something
did.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we talked
This is
about it a little
about
bit.
a breakup.
Yeah.
For sure.
And
I'm
one of
talking
his.
about something else.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Okay.
so if you look at Hereditary, his first movie, and this movie, like, there's a lot of like family related drama, and I wonder where that's coming from. And if you watch some of his short films prior to making these two feature lengths, it's like really terrible family drama, and it just makes me wonder. I don't know. There's a theme, and I wonder where that comes from. It's I don't know. That's sort of off topic, but Midsummer is incredible.
Maybe
It's
Ari was raised under
Addy.
some stairs.
maybe he lived in the cupboard.
Stairs. God damn.
That
fell apart real quick.
really fell apart
Really
there
not
at the
making
end.
a whole lot of friends with that accent. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This is this one just really stood out for me this year. It's good shit. Ari Aster, I can't wait to see what he's doing next. He has said that it probably isn't going to be a horror movie, which is a bit of a bummer, but whatever it is, I'll watch it.
I'm intrigued because this dude does
I'll keep up
seem
with
to
him.
be like dealing with a lot of dark issues. And not only that, like his horror films have some of the most like fucked up
Yeah.
iconic scenes.
Yeah.
So for him to be like, I'm not going to make a horror film. It's like, what are you going to do?
It's like,
Well, you can make a drama that's that fucked up, but I kind of hope he makes a comedy. I want to see what that's like.
I'm just intrigued because
Yeah.
like this dude does like
I hope-
fucked up things.
I don't
So
think
it's
he
like,
is, but
man.
I hope he directs the new Bill and Ted movie. I mean, that's
The,
what I want to see.
the like murder suicide intro to this movie is probably the worst kill of the year for me. Like it's so fucked up. It's so
very
who
fucked
comes up with this stuff?
Yeah.
It's not even gruesome.
And to,
It's
like-
Yeah.
just fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of gruesome.
It is kind of gruesome. But
mean,
it's
I don't
not,
know what
it's
you're
not
talking
gruesome.
about. I mean,
Well, it's not like think about Hereditary. It's not gruesome like Hereditary's
right.
kills were.
Yeah,
And it's not even
It's-
gruesome compared to later kills in the film.
Yeah, that shit just really left an impression, and
I love how he makes you look at it. He's like,
he
"You're
lingers.
You're
Yeah.
gonna look at this.
You're gonna look at it.
Look
You're
at
gonna like
And
it.
later in the movie, like in the background, images from that scene are just
Yeah.
like inlaid in the trees and stuff.
Guys,
Oh, really?
like subliminal shit.
My
What's
number
up?
3 is Midsummer. So
Okay,
Okay, so
okay,
let's
yeah,
keep it
okay,
rolling,
yeah,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah,
So
yeah.
in the trees, that I actually think about that a lot. Like
so
imagery
what do you mean?
from you can see like if you look at this is pointed out by the internet by Mr. Internet.
Yeah.
Mr.
that,
Internet. Yes, I like
if you
that
look
guy.
at like the trees while they're like walking into camp on the Midsummer like location or whatever, you can see like ghost images of without spoiling anything, I guess
The dead people.
dead.
a dead
Yeah.
person from an
Yeah.
early part in the
Yeah.
film that's very influential in the state of mind of our lead character.
huh? Okay.
Yeah, and shit like that. That's the kind of shit that really pushed this movie over. Like, okay, that's the kind of like intentional action that a director will take when they're really striving for something, and when they're really sort of like subversively introducing these ideas over and over again, so that you'll remember what horror is while you're entering a blissful atmosphere. Like, that's one of the ways Ari Aster achieves what he does with this otherwise fairly pleasant atmosphere is by subversively, like, what is that? I don't know, subversive messaging into the rest of the film, like reintroducing you to horrific events that have already been established. It's smart filmmaking is what it is. And it's like subtle, and it's, when you notice it, it's mind-blowing, and when you don't, it's almost imperceptible.
Yeah.
And maybe imperceptible. But, you know, like, I just think it shows such a strong intention and need to... It's just intention. It's just what it is. It's like this is what Ari wanted to do. He wanted to...
Got to respect the work. Like,
Exactly.
putting the work in.
He's putting
like,
the work in. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
This guy definitely has a hard-on for head trauma.
Yeah, that's true.
Boy, I'm sure that's never been a compliment for anyone.
I'm into it.
Okay.
Whatever. Yeah, that's just another theme between his first two movies that I noticed. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Whatever.
I mean, to me, this movie did a couple things. Like you said, it took a blissful atmosphere and turned it raw and turned it really horrific. But even more than that, it sort of explored... It explores a lot of like
Mushrooms.
Mushrooms. It explores drug use. I'll certainly say that. But it explores a lot of like very human reactions to things that happen in our lives, and PTSD and trauma and all that shit. And you could dissect it for days, but you could also just watch it for what it is. And for what it is, it was a horror movie that everybody seems to know, even people who aren't super horror movies like movie fans. There were a lot of bear costumes this Halloween. I'll say that. There were a lot of bear costumes and a lot of flower crowns.
A lot of bars.
A lot of good couples
in the woods.
costumes out there. And
Yeah.
that's another case of iconography being done well and being introduced into the horror community, into the habitat for us all to play with, and I appreciate that sort of thing. It's a Flashpoint movie.
Yeah. Hashtag May Queen.
It's my number 3.
I like it. Juice, what's your number 3?
Number 3, Parasite is my number 3, which is funny, like following up my number 4, which is Lords of Chaos, because it's another movie I really...
Lords of Chaos isn't that horror, but Parasite is more horror.
Well, I was bouncing off the
that's-
same. It's another film that I really enjoy, but it's
Yeah.
like the genres, or it's like, it's not
Blended.
straight horror or whatever. But again, with both of those films, like it's something that has left me with a lot of thought. That I've like kind of dived into some of the elements that it brings up. And it does have horror elements that we've touched on when we've covered both of these films. We just covered Parasite just 2 episodes ago?
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's just another like really well crafted film that incorporates horror elements, and just left me with a lot to think about. Just films that I want to revisit over and over again, just to kind of pick at all these different elements that they touch on. But Parasite, it's a really cool film, representing SoCo. It's getting all the hype and winning all kind of awards at all kind of festivals and international things and whatnot. But I really enjoyed it. I want to watch it again, and it's got horror. It's got some horror in it.
Yeah. Horror,
it's
comedy,
horror. It's
family
horror.
drama. It's a
Yeah.
blend.
Black
it's a
comedy.
genre
It's a real
blender.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
Rob, what's your number, Trace?
My number Trace, talking top 3. It's going to be
moving in the top 3.
Us.
Oh, you mean Jordan Peele's?
Jordan Peele's.
Jordan Peele's. In case I was unclear.
Yeah.
I think it's pronounced Oos.
It's not. Jordan Peele is
Very frustrated.
killing it.
It's not.
You know it's not.
No, it's not Oos. Juice.
Not.
Jordan Peele's killing it. Everything that he has been like directing and even producing has been pretty fucking dope.
Yeah.
I'm excited to just see him continue to work in the horror genre, and I love that that he's just like waving that horror flag like very proudly. And when people watch his movies and like talk about them, should they describe them as being anything other than horror, he's like, no,
Yeah.
bitch, that's a horror
He
movie.
really waves the flag.
Yeah. I appreciate that quite a bit. This movie is just, it definitely has something it's trying to say. It's a lot of like social commentary going on, much like Get Out. That seems to be what he's most interested in doing, and horror is very much suited for that. It's a doppelganger movie. It's got some comedy in it. It's got some real horrific shit in it. It's got some amazing performances for sure.
Tim Heidecker. Gotta give it to the man.
You do. Like, Tim Heidecker is so goofy, and even when he's scary, he's like a little goofy, but not in a bad
it
way.
makes him scarier.
Scurrier. He's scurrier.
So scurry.
I got a kick out of seeing him in this movie, and just that one line where Lupita just says like, we're Americans. I was like, fuck. Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this movie is dope. It's the cinematography is fantastic. It's one of those things where, like, when you're watching it, you just know you're in the hands of someone who knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, every frame was planned. Every frame has intention. It's one that you can rewatch and get more out of. It's great. And it's another one of those that a fair portion takes place during the day on like a pretty beach, and that's just like a weird place for a horror movie to be set, you know? I like that about it as well. So number 3 is Oos. Jordan Peele's Oos.
Oos. Jordan Peele's Oos.
Talking number 2s, baby. Randy, what you got?
We're getting down to the wire here, and I'm starting to see the writing on the wall.
Number deuce.
Here's my number deuce. It's Parasite.
Parasite.
Released in America in
shit.
October.
I know what your number 1 is, right?
I think you do. I don't doubt it. Parasite. So this movie kind of came out of nowhere for me. Like I heard hype about it, and then I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is a movie that I got to pay attention to. We watched it for the podcast, and I loved it. I fucking love this movie. I think that what it has to say is both obscure and very apparent at the same time. I think that it has a fuck ton to say about class
Fuck ton.
and about, you know, what it means to actually struggle in a modern society, not even an American society, because this movie is clearly in Southern Korea. And, you know, it has a lot of influence from that culture that Justin brought to the table on our episode, which so I recommend listening to that if you want to hear us not drunk talking about this. And I will
Who wants that?
Yeah, not malorted. I think that this movie was it kind of said a lot of things that I feel like a lot of people are feeling right now. And it's frustration with how slippery the ladder to success is, and how easy it is to fall on your ass, and how hard it is to actually achieve anything. I think that's more universal than just in South Korea. That certainly applies to our own culture. And to me, that sort of central thesis or central idea is what puts it over. Even though I would, like, when I first saw it, we had a conversation via text about how I wasn't sure that it even was a horror movie. And I think I kind of laid out why that was at the time. And that's really what kept it out of the top spot for me, because it's not emblematic of horror to me.
Yeah.
So to have it as a number 1 spot almost seemed like an affront to just the genre idea. So I kind of walked that back a little bit for myself. That's one of the main reasons it's number 2, but I think it's a very comfortable number 2, and it could have been a comfortable number 1 because it's so strongly made. It's so charismatic and so smart. I don't know. I really love it, and I'm not in a position to really be eloquent about it. So, sorry, podcast listeners. I'm not good at my job.
Randy says Parasite is out of sight. Next.
That's so much better than everything I just said.
Juice, what you got? Number 2.
Number deuce is... Let me drop a deuce on you, Bob.
Thank you.
It is The Lighthouse.
Oh, okay. All right.
What? Bob. Swerve. Bob thought he had me pegged. He doesn't.
I'm about to peg you.
Don't
Oh,
peg me, Bob.
Let's peg.
Okay, Malort is really turning things weird.
Yeah.
Number deuce is The Lighthouse. Man, I love this guy. He does a good job. He did a real good job.
It's so great that the better the movies get, the less eloquent we
Yeah.
become.
know.
No, but
So bad.
this movie
I was
is
so much better at Godzilla King of Monsters
Oh,
than we are at this.
this movie's beautiful. Just the creative choices that are made, I just can't help but absolutely respect. And it just makes me want to dive into this world that he creates, because he creates a world. He dedicates himself to creating an accurate world. He builds a lighthouse. He fucking puts like the nails in and shit that they used back 120
He personally
years ago.
built that lighthouse.
He
By
nailed
hand.
that lighthouse.
Eggers, nail by nail.
The acting is phenomenal. Just 2 guys sitting in a lighthouse. I mean, to just keep and hold your attention for a whole movie with just two guys in an isolated place, in a black and white film, for those choices to be made for the black and white film, it's just like, it's so mesmerizing, hypnotizing. I touched on this when we covered the film, but I love that he's touching on folklore that is not often brought up in horror, like modern horror films, contemporary horror films, like the sea stuff, the sea folklore, mermaids and krakens and stuff like that. I just think it's really cool, and I'm glad he's like bringing that kind of fresh stuff to our eyeballs. I appreciate it. This film is amazing piece of art on almost every level. You get like the sound design and the acting and the script and the look of it. I mean, it's all phenomenal across the board. So Lighthouse gets my number deuce.
It gets mine as well.
Yeah.
The Lighthouse.
Wow.
Yeah. Old Bob Eggers making a movie about two dudes in Nova Scotia sitting in a lighthouse.
Yeah.
Find a broier way
Just-
to say that, please.
They got beards and they're farting and jerking off, and
Yeah, they're farting.
it's all about the dick. Two dudes in a big old phallic symbol.
is all
It's all about the dick.
Damn.
Bob Eggers is laying pipe, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
here. And that's why I love the Lighthouse.
That's why.
Please rest your case at that.
Did you like the Mermaid Yabos?
I was way into the cloaca.
Yeah.
Yeah, turns out I'm.
Oh, Jesus.
No, that's
I'm
You're
really into
way into it.
orifices that both shit and take
it's
seed.
I'm a utilitarian. Okay, it's a multi-purpose orifice,
Oh,
and
no.
I appreciate
It's very
that.
efficient.
Why do people listen to us? I don't understand.
Oh, Malort. Yeah, this movie's gorgeous.
There's
man.
dozens of them, I tell you, dozens that listen.
This dozens. We listen sometimes.
Not me.
Not Randy.
This movie is I don't know. It's beautifully crafted. Robert Eggers is another one of those guys that I just can't wait to see what he does next. Everything that he does, he goes whole hog into. Does a ton of research. These characters are like speaking accurately to the time period. They legitimately built a fucking lighthouse for this movie. They shot in terrible weather conditions just to make it that much more authentic. The performances are just absolutely out of this world, and you just have these two characters on the screen, and that's really it. That's the movie. They do such a good job that it's enough to hold your attention for the entirety of the film, and they get kind of loosely Lovecraftian with some of like the tentacly stuff happening, and it can just it can be interpreted in so many ways, and that is the intention of the director. He has layered this thing so well. It's just so well crafted. You can watch it over and over and get new shit every time. But definitely all about the dick. That's my number 2, Lighthouse.
All right.
Randy, what's your number 1? Number one of 2019.
Number one. Here we
Oh,
go.
my Lord.
Wrapping up
Here
the
it
year.
comes. Number 1.
I know what it is.
1. What is it?
It's the Lighthouse.
It's The Lighthouse.
Yep.
October was an embarrassment of riches. Both October.
Damn, girl.
What?
Tell me.
Both Parasite and The Lighthouse, my
Oh.
number 1 and 2, were both in October for me. So it was an embarrassment of riches for us in America. I think that everything you guys said is pretty on point. I think that what sort of pushed this movie over the edge was not necessarily a success on this movie's part, but just not even a failing, but just sort of like a deficiency on Parasite's part in terms of being horror. That is really, like I said, the only reason that Parasite didn't take this spot. But that said, the movie that we have here with The Lighthouse is so unique and so focused and so very fucking stylish that it's tough to take on any other terms. There's no other movie I can think of that's like it, unless you really want to compare it to The Witch, which also does the thing where it takes anachronistic storytelling from an American setting and turning it into modern horror. I think that that's the most appealing thing about both of those movies to me, where it takes something so like that's culturally like accepted as sort of like silly or, you know, passé or, you know, ridiculous, and it just takes it so seriously, and it it gives it new life, basically. These are not new stories being told. They're old stories being adapted into a new format. And I think that Eggers is like proven that he is the master of that in terms of horror films. There's nobody doing it as well as he is. There's nobody pulling silly things into a sort of acceptable modern format the way he is. And he does it by honoring the past that it comes from.
Yeah.
He does it in this movie by making it black and white, by making it look like archival footage of people setting foot on Antarctica for the first time. Like it looks in parts of this movie like archival footage, and it sort of like builds on itself to the point where it is a fully fledged, modern, crisp HD film, but you don't notice the transition. It does it naturally, and the acting is so strong that you're engrossed from the jump. And then on top of that, you have the visual. Like, it's just every part of this movie. You can't dissect a part of it that doesn't have more strength than weakness to it. Mm-hmm. And the only, it qualifies certainly as horror for me because it is a Grecian tragedy that is presented through the film of American folklore that is centered around like the sea and seafaring and monsters. You've got fucking mermaids. You've got like an unseen evil. You've got a Lovecraftian. This is of the era of Lovecraft. This time period. All that shit sort of coalesces, and it does it so efficiently, and like it has to be broken down to its base components for you to even know that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So all of that said, like it's just so cohesive and smartly put together. It's taking old things, making them new, and making them work together in a way that you never thought that they could. I think it's brilliant. And if it wasn't for, Parasite gave it a real run for its money, but because it is so much more of a horror movie than Parasite is for my money, I would give it the number one spot.
Willem Dafoe needs an Oscar for this movie.
Yeah, and Pattinson does great too.
He does, yeah.
Like
he does.
I would not have given Pattinson the time of day, having seen Twilight,
right.
The first movie of Twilight. I was like, okay, well, here you got your guy. You got your teenage guy doing his teenage CW shit. Let him have his career. Great, good for him. No, he does his shit in this movie. And what's great is the stories from behind the scenes about the two actors and things. Everything you know about this movie just adds to the movie.
Yeah.
It's really insane how efficient it is at that. So, it's great. It's my number one.
It's good shit. Justin, your number one pick of 2019.
I think the best horror film of 2019 is Midsommar.
Oh, okay.
All right. Aster boy.
I'm going Midsommar, and one thing that Randy's brought up from a couple of different films that kind of even reinforce this idea and maybe kind of like clarify some of my thoughts about it is like the iconic horror nature of this film. Even before this film came out, we were hyped about it as horror fans, saying that like it's just the ideas of the colors and the pastels and just the setting. It was very different for what we expected from a horror film. Not only that, this guy we have brought up again and again. It's like he brings up these like brutal subjects and like images and ideas, and yet here's the thing about this movie.
What's the thing?
It's somehow like so accessible.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Randy was talking about like with like the Halloween costume and stuff, but not just that. This movie came out like in the summertime. And like if you were to like to describe things that happen in this movie, they're just like some of the darkest, most disturbed, fucked up things you can think of, and yet I feel like so many people have seen this movie. And I wouldn't even describe it as accessible necessarily.
No, not at all.
And yet, it like captured this like accessibility.
Maybe just because it looked different.
This like summer block. It was almost like this summer horror blockbuster, but not in a way that like Godzilla King of Monsters was. So I was like, oh, monsters are fine. I mean, the stuff in this movie are truly horrific, like horror iconic things.
There's that one scene.
but just flipped on its head, like things. And you're right.
You know
There is
that
that
one
one scene. There's more than one scene where no other people have like thought about doing these scenes. There's so many moments in this film that are just distinctly unique, and yet so distinctly horror. And yet it's like so iconic and somehow accessible and intriguing to like a large majority of people, of moviegoers.
It's not a spectacle movie, but it has its spectacles that you can call back.
Yeah, I'm honestly like so like interested kind of in like how accessible this movie ended up being, or like it just feels like a lot of people saw this movie outside of like, I feel like more people saw and are familiar with this movie as opposed to like The Lighthouse.
Yeah, probably because it doesn't look like a normal horror movie, right? You could be kind of like tricked into seeing it almost.
Maybe,
But you're not, though, because the advertising was pretty clear, and I think that's what made people see it, is because a horror movie in the daylight.
Yeah.
I'll
So
check that out.
and to be released like in the summer, it wasn't like, oh, we're gonna
Almost
release
like
it
it was
around like
advertised
Halloween
almost as a
or-
gimmick, even though it really isn't. I don't think.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's just and on top of that, it's just really great filmmaking. And so I might and the thing about this movie that's kind of nuts about it too is it makes me feel uncomfortable. So it might like I would rather watch like if I had the choice, I'd be like I want to watch like Lords of Chaos or I want to watch Parasite again because they feel more comfortable to me. This movie makes me squirm in a very similar way that Hereditary did.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about horror films of the year, like what is the best horror film? Like I think this like just takes that. It's like horrific, and even after all of the horror films I've seen still makes me squirm and be like, God damn,
So to you,
that's
it's not
fucked
just
up.
it's not just the best; it's also the most culturally significant.
Culturally significant and like horror iconic, like you were talking about, like what people associate like horror. I think it represents this genre like in such a
this year.
fantastic way. Whereas like maybe The Lighthouse like does it's not as accessible. I think the filmmaking is great, but as far like there's so many different things you have to consider when you're thinking like what is the greatest
Accessible in the Lighthouse is not. You got
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Nobody's going to argue otherwise.
Which I feel like it would have been so easy for Midsummer to go that similar kind of way, like where somebody could say it's not accessible because the things that you have to witness are hard to witness, but it somehow captured this audience, and I find it like,
You know what's funny?
really interesting.
The detractors from Midsummer, that from what I've seen, are generally more like, that's kind of boring. Like,
Yeah.
which is
crazy because like,
holy
okay, well,
shit.
you are very desensitized then.
Apparently, God. But yeah. Anyways, number one, representing horror, baby. Midsummer.
I no longer drink red liquids because of that movie. Just want you
No
to know
Shirley
that.
Temples for Bob.
Oh no. Can't do it.
It's all Malort for Bob from here on out.
Temple.
No, that's like
That's
piss
a one-way
yellow.
ticket.
I'm not-
This stuff tastes like how I imagine the diesel fuel that the lighthouse oil tasted like in the lighthouse.
Probably.
lamp oil. Yeah,
Probably.
It's
Oh.
lamp oil. That's what that shit is.
Oh my god. Oh, Malort, my number one
Bob, what's
Of
the
2019.
number one?
is going to be a little movie called Lords of Chaos.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is shocking.
I love
not so shocking.
this movie. I love it.
It was
man.
shocking to me. I didn't have him cornered on that
I
one.
have seen it several times this year, and it's just incredibly enjoyable.
It's good.
And it made me read a book for the love.
Bob,
I read a book.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know you like physical media, but you don't like words.
I hate words. I don't even like to use them.
Oh, fuck them.
Yeah. Our
Blah,
next
blah,
show is going to
blah,
be
blah.
silence.
Blah, 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 blah.
Just silence. No, this movie's incredible. It's super entertaining. It's, based on a true story. It's not a verbatim what happened in real life, but it basically showcases the birth of this Norwegian black metal scene and the band Mayhem, who kind of like
Mayhem.
kicks it off.
Mayhem.
And it's just it's very gruesome.
Honey cured mayhem.
Mayhem. It's very gruesome. It's got some pretty brutal murder scenes. Like the two scenes of this movie really, really stand out to me.
Yeah.
Like across the whole year.
It's probably the worst suicide
don't
film
think-
I've ever seen put
Yeah.
onto film.
Yeah,
I
it's
can only think of one, so that's not great.
really well. Anyways, it's not. I guess you wouldn't call it straight horror, but when it does dip its toe into like the horror realm, it does not fuck around, and those scenes really do stick out to me in my mind. And in between that, there's a lot of comedic beats, which is also like a big plus for me. And also, it's talking about this like weird metal music scene, which also is relatable to me. Not that I'm from Norway, but
Big
I just,
Slipknot fan.
It reminds me, yeah.
You run to Slipknot.
I do like
huh,
Slipknot.
Bob?
I like metal. Ooh, ah, 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 ah.
Do people equal shit? Bob?
That's neither here nor is it there. It's relatable to me on many levels and entertaining on many levels, and
Goth
it just
Robin.
kind of like sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole and like researching all of these people and watching Varg on YouTube talk some dumb shit. That man is insane.
That man sucks.
is insane.
But
And he's free.
he doesn't
And
like
he's not in jail anymore.
Oh, I thought you meant you didn't pay a Patreon fee to hear him or some shit.
No. He's just like out and about. That
Yeah.
dude is a murderer.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, he is.
Crazy. It's just very intriguing and entertaining and gruesome and
So
funny.
it sounds like just in terms of enrichment of your life, this movie is a clear front runner. That seems like a
I am
clear reason.
enriched. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's just what it sounds like.
Yeah, I guess. I just it hit me on many different levels.
Come.
Really, really stood out to me.
I
That
really
movie
liked it too.
completely slipped my mind when making this list. So
Yeah.
Oh,
well.
Randy.
it might have made it.
That's my shit.
Probably would have
Anyways,
taken that
Can we-
two
do we-
spot. All right.
Do we want to do a quick rundown of our list? Just run them down for posterity's
recap.
sake.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Ray, why don't you
Here's
start?
my from 10 to 1. Godzilla King of Monsters. Number 9, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Number 8, It Chapter 2. Number 7, Hagazusa. Number 6, Tigers Are Not Afraid. Number 5, One Cut of the Dead. Number 4, Jordan Peele's Us. Number 3, Midsommar. Number 2, Parasite. And number 1, The Lighthouse.
There you go.
Juice?
Number 10, Haunt. 9, Brightburn. 8, Ready or Not. 7, Godzilla. 6, Tigers Are Not Afraid. 5, Us. 4, Lords of Chaos. 3, Parasite. 2, Lighthouse. 1, Midsummer.
Bob.
Bob.
Bob's number 10.
Hot Bob. What's your top 10?
That's not what they call me. Number 10.
69 Gmail.
Number 10 is Black Christmas. 9, Tigers Are Not Afraid. 8, Child's Play. 7, Haunt. 6, One Cut of the Dead. 5, Ready or Not. 4, Midsummer. 3, Oos. 2, The Lighthouse. 1, Lords of Chaos.
Bob,
Okay.
did Parasite not make your list?
Did not.
Bob.
Didn't make my list.
You didn't think it was
It's
good
fine.
enough?
It's fine.
It's not better than Haunt.
Bob, let me get you a good beer. We'll rewatch it.
Oh my
See how
god.
Let's get you a real nice IPA.
real
buddy.
Let me get you that pumpkin, Bob.
I
and
had-
then we'll see what
You'll
you
be
have
in-
to
you'll
think
be in
about
Hog
Parasite.
I had the best bowl of popcorn in 10 states, and that movie still didn't make my top 10. So I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know what to
I
tell
mean,
you.
How's it feel to
somebody
be
is
wrong?
part of the
Oh.
somebody's part of the bourgeois. That's all.
How does it feel to be loved? How does it feel?
All right, 1%er, you got it.
I think we should probably do some honorable mention.
Yeah. Some of mine too. One thing that's tough with honorable mentions, I'm just going to jump in here, is I feel like there's a lot of movies that I didn't get to see that I like. I feel like are really good. Like Daniel Isn't Real. I didn't get to
I have
see.
a long list.
Black
here.
Christmas.
Yep.
I didn't get to see. I mean, there were some good like that have been mentioned already. Like Scary Stories was vying for that
Yeah.
10 spot. Not It Chapter 2. I gotta say, It Chapter 2 was
It's aight.
not vying.
It's aight. It's aight.
like if I had to do a top 20, I'd probably make it. But
That's fair.
I did not like it more than the first one. That's for sure.
Do you have movies that you would consider like hardcore honorable mentions? Let's start with Randy, because that's what we've been doing. Let's start with Randy.
All right.
You're going to talk about honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Yeah. Do that. I have to pee. But
All right,
please,
bye, Bob.
please
We're
start
gonna
talking.
Thank you
Bob.
for asking my opinion so you can go pee.
Please start talking.
All right, here we go, people. I'm taking over. So yeah, my runners up. My first one is Lords of Chaos because honestly, it that one completely fucking slipped my mind, and it might have made a top 10 spot if I had given it consideration, but my failing. So I'll give it that. My next runner up would be Crawl, which I very deeply considered giving my number 10 spot because I think partially almost a little bit of a pity vote because I didn't think it's definitely not going to make anybody else's list.
Yeah.
Like that to me is like it's sort of like the perfect insular monster movie, not a kaiju movie, but just an insular monster movie. And it was Florida based and it had a lot of Florida bullshit going on. I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. It was simple, it was thoughtless, it was fun, and it made me feel good by the end of it. So I would have considered that. I even would have considered Dr. Sleep, and I know that we gave that movie a lot of shit. I know everybody gave that movie a lot of shit. It's in a runners-up purely because it gave me some greatest hits of The Shining, which I did greatly enjoy those parts of that movie. Those are about the only parts that I really, truly enjoyed about that movie. But for what they were, I did enjoy them. Escape Room, I thought was, for being a run-of-the-mill sort of horror production that was produced to bring in, teenagers and shit like that, I thought it did pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it could have been a lot worse of a movie. Haunt was on my list at this point, and the same sort of level, because it sort of occupies the same space as Escape Room for me, where it's sort of like, it's not necessarily for teenagers, I won't say that, but it is sort of like more like it's like a movie that gets produced that could be easily glossed over, shall we say. So I had those. Pet Sematary, which was kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
Kind of a shit show, but I will say that the quality of the cinematography and some of the things about that movie, I thought it was up to snuff with other better movies. It just wasn't done, like, story-wise, it wasn't as good.
Yeah.
It just didn't do what it should have done story-wise or plot-wise. It was just good to look at, similar to Dr. Sleep. A lot of Stephen King movies really just sort of hit aesthetic parts and not really story beats the way that they should have. Fractured, I don't know if you guys saw that. I mentioned it on an episode. It's a Netflix film. Again, another one that's sort of like, if you need something to just throw on that's dumb horror fun, it's a good movie for that. It's a am I crazy or not kind of movie. And I think there's plenty of those to where everybody's going to know what I mean. And then last, All That We Destroy, which I thought was... I thought it was flawed, but overall could have been pretty good. I feel like the stock was there, but the final result didn't really elevate anything. So
That's an Into the Dark installment.
it is, which I
on
almost didn't
Hulu.
include any of those,
Yeah.
but because it is the one that I've seen that kind of elevated that whole show for me, I felt like it was worthy of mention. But it's not a top 10. None of those movies are top 10 except for maybe Lords of Chaos. The rest are
I'm turning
movies that are worth watching.
Yeah, turning you.
What? In what way?
On to Lords of Chaos. Maybe it's a top
Oh, no,
10.
no. I'd say that because I didn't consider it because I completely forgot it existed.
oh, okay, I
I
got
explained
you. I
this
got
while
you.
you were pissing
Dude,
like
I
an
had to.
animal.
I had to. Like an animal, damn.
Like an animal.
Cool. Juice, do you have any honorable mentions?
I do. I thought Scary Stories Telling Dark was vying for a 10 spot. It was solid, especially with the strong Halloween beginning. If it had stuck with that, it probably would have made it. Child's Play actually was surprisingly decent. One that we have not talked about at all, which I enjoyed pretty good, In the Tall Grass, which was a Netflix.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was all right. It was an honorable mention, but I mean, it had some interesting things like the creatures that were in there, the way it played with like some time stuff. It was intriguing, and I thought a lot of that was like done well. If only like one of the biggest things that bothered me about that movie was just them yelling into a big plot of grass for a lot of the movie, like just yelling each other's names over and over and over again. It's like, okay, you're not gonna find them. I get it. Like, stop yelling. Happy Death Day to You was fun.
Yeah,
I know we talked
same.
about whether that's, is
Was
it
it?
or not, but I thought it was fun. Escape Room was surprisingly decent. And let's see. I wasn't too impressed with Pet Cemetery, to be honest with you.
We're not there yet.
Oh, well, I mean, it wasn't complete shit, but it's not even.
It's not.
It just
an
didn't make-
honorable
I don't want to
mention.
mention it. Yeah,
Well, you just mentioned
I'm
it.
just saying.
I
okay.
don't want to mention how much I don't want to mention this movie.
All right, I'll leave it at that. That's it. I didn't get to see Crawl, but I heard it was surprisingly decent as well.
It was fine.
It was dumb and fun.
Yeah. All right.
It was fine.
All right.
Uh,
Bob.
All right, Bob, let's all
mention?
listen to Bob now.
Bob, tell me what you think about whatever.
Oh, jeez.
I'm gonna
Here
tell
it
you.
comes.
I'm gonna tell you what I think. So I got some TV shows on this because
Okay.
Breaking
Well,
the rules.
you know-
I see how you didn't mention that to the rest of us. Okay,
Yeah,
Bob.
thanks for giving us the opportunity, Bob.
oh Malort,
Malort.
there's a lot of good horror TV going on, and it's I think it's unfair to include that in our top 10 list, but it's stuff that I definitely want to mention because it's very good. And if people haven't seen it, they don't know about it. It's worth your time. First one I got here, Chernobyl, HBO miniseries.
Great.
What is
Chernobyl.
that?
You started watching it this morning.
I did.
You did.
Because I couldn't sleep. I got that jet lag.
Oh man, this show is incredible,
It's so
and
good.
it might not be like straight horror, but it's like real life horror, and the entire
will
show
freak you the
is
fuck out, though.
straight dread the entire time, and they get into like minute detail of what actually happened in Chernobyl, like what went wrong, and like how people are getting this like radiation, like what it's actually doing to their bodies. They explain it fully, and it's just like very well crafted, very beautiful, very hard to watch. Honestly, it's difficult to get through, but it's just so well made. Definitely worth watching. Another TV show I have. This is the last TV show. What We Do in the Shadows, the FX show, is the funniest shit. It is.
God.
It is so
I
funny.
need to
It's from the
see
werewolf
it.
perspective, right?
No, it is not. It's,
Oh, no. They actually have the vampire. That's right.
Yeah, it's
That's
from
the
the
other
same
thing.
creators, but it's about a group of vampires living in Staten Island, or on Staten Island, I think is how people say that for some reason. But it's a different group of vampires than from the movie. It's just so much funnier than I feel like it should be or could be. It is surprisingly hilarious, and they bring in vampires from like other properties in like one particular episode. And Blade may or may not make an appearance.
Whoa. Have you seen those movies yet, Rob?
No. And they have like this other character who's like an energy vampire, and he's just like this normal like office worker dude.
Oh, God, that's hilarious.
It is so hilarious and like consistently hilarious every episode. It's I can't recommend that enough. As far as the movies go, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, fucking phenomenal. Everybody kind of already touched on that. Gags the Clown is a really, really solid found footage movie that started as kind of an intentional hoax.
Yeah.
And the filmmaker kind of picked up some steam from that being featured on like real life news. People thought this like terrifying looking clown going around like Wisconsin, I think is where it was at. Anyway, it got picked up on the news, and he picked up some steam from that, and then revealed that like, joke's on y'all. I kind of,
Yeah.
I bamboozled you. And then he
I got your ass.
made this feature length film called Gags the Clown. It's just great. And I don't particularly care for found footage movies, but the shit is
that's
dope.
not usually your
I need to
bag,
check
baby.
that out still.
Last honorable mention, The Ranger came out January this year.
Ranger.
Also, it's on Shudder. It's just like a solid kind of slasher throwback joint about this like psycho killer who is a park ranger. Randy is doing silly things. Anyway, those are
Tickling his testes.
my honorable mentions.
Bob, real quick, last year
Oh, yeah.
Actually, this year, the first episode of January,
Right.
you had a list of potential top
anticipated.
10s
Yeah.
of what you thought would have made
It was
your
like a
top 10.
mock top.
a mock
10.
a mock draft, if you will,
Yeah.
of your top 10. Here is what you. I don't think you had in
God.
any particular order. I don't think.
I don't know. What's on
here's
there?
what you included in what you thought would be your top 10. It Chapter 2,
Okay.
Brightburn,
Okay.
Godzilla King of Monsters,
Okay.
The Ranger,
Ah, okay.
Lords of Chaos,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Pet Cemetery,
Okay.
The Lighthouse,
Okay.
Oos,
Oos.
Zombieland Deuce.
Didn't see it.
You didn't see it.
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
your number
well, maybe it
one.
would have made.
Maybe.
And
oh, well.
Glass. Poor Bob.
So,
I tried to
man.
warn Bob.
3 of those were on my final list.
Yeah, actually,
3
it
of
wasn't
10.
that, and even a lot of like in your honorable mentions, you just mentioned the Ranger.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
oh, all right.
That's actually better than I thought it was going
That
to be.
could have been a
I
lot
thought
worse.
so too. When
But
I
your
listened
top,
back, I
your
was
top
like,
several were kind of a shit show there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Kind of a shit show.
Poor Bob.
Kinda.
Last year, Bob thought Glass was going to be the shit.
I wanted it
If
to be
only
good.
I could go back and tell you.
No, we
Oh,
told him then,
okay.
as I
know.
recall.
That's
Everybody-
the joke, Randy.
It's not very funny though. But that is the
It is.
joke.
I mean, it's less funny to you than it is to us.
That's,
It's hilarious.
should we transition over into our worst of the year?
Let's talk about the
Dishonorable
dog shit
mention.
of the year.
Dog shit.
Let's do it. Randy, kick us off. What were
Are we gonna
your
go, like- I
dishonorable
have 3.
mentions?
That's fine. Yeah, just
Do you want me to just rattle off
Just,
the 3?
just
Okay.
rattle them.
rattle.
So I might ruffle some feathers a little here
Don't
because the
ruffle
way
them
that
there,
I
Andy.
chose to do the dog shit category for myself
Uh-huh.
was this: movies that upset me and made me go on a rant at some point.
Okay.
Oh no.
There are 3 that I
3.
could name.
Oh no.
The 3 are these rather.
Are
Number 3,
this
Brightburn.
Those. Oh shit.
Really?
Brightburn fucking pissed me off a little bit.
Huh.
All right,
It
nerd.
was so goddamn on the. It's like I've seen so many subversions of the superhero genre. You really got to bring something special to the table if you're going to make that the centerpiece of your movie, especially if it's going to be on fucking Superman, the most overthought, most like pontificated about superhero of all time. It just brought nothing interesting to the table for me. And I just was left focusing on like the minutia of why it didn't work within the movie. If you listen back to my, I'm probably not angry enough in my episode review.
Damn.
I just really like the more I think about that movie, the more I'm like, just kind of fuck that movie.
I wish I could get more angry.
I wish I could retroactively add more anger to my tone.
Damn girl.
It just didn't like. It just kind of pissed me off. You
Damn.
can do so many things with subverting superheroes, but you gotta be fucking unique about it. And this movie wasn't. I think somebody. I think Cesar brought up. I don't know if he was on that episode or for just from me talking to him.
He called in and like
He called
recorded.
it.
Yeah.
He talked about like Red Sun. Like, there's a better villain Superman movie or story. Like, those things exist, and I don't know the way that they presented it in this movie. It was so. It tried for subtext so ham-fistedly. It just didn't work for me, and it just felt very basic.
Basic bitch ass Brightburn. Fuck.
Damn.
My number 2 was Glass.
Glass.
I don't think
my
I need to say a
ass.
whole lot.
Yeah, that movie is a movie.
I really made shit shine when we reviewed it, as I recall. I was trying my best to not shit entirely on it. But it was painful to get through. It was a huge letdown from the promise of Split.
Yeah.
And,
Split.
I didn't expect a whole lot from the beginning. Like Justin said, Rob brought that up at the beginning of last year as his most anticipated movie.
I was hopeful.
And we were both like, there's a real good chance that won't go well. Like, just on record
Poor
alone.
Bob.
Just on record of Shyamalan alone, it stood a really
Shyamalan.
shitty chance.
Yeah.
But once we got it, it was like, oh my God, the budget just fell out or something. And what this movie is, I guess, saying is dog shit, and it's just terrible. And I don't know. I could go on and on. Like I said, movies that made me rant. And then last, but certainly not least, was Happy Death Day to You.
Oh, Randy.
I watched Happy Death Day in preparation for reviewing Happy Death Day 2. And it was fine. It was a fine movie. I can see why people like it. Happy Death Day to You really just doubled down on everything that was insufferable about the first fucking movie. It decided that it would lean into sci-fi insofar as making magic things happen. It did not make any goddamn sense in terms of science fiction, but you know, magic things happened, and they called it science. And it did like if you go back to that episode again, I'm sure you will hear me bitch about it in a more direct way because I can't remember the specifics now. But I remember being so like, but that none of this had to happen if they had just done X. Like there was something like very vital that they just ignored to make the rest of the movie happen. And that happened a couple times, as I recall. And really the humor just seemed very forced and very montage to me. People love the humor in this, and like that's part of why I don't like it, is sort of like that rejection of hype thing, which I don't usually go in for, or I try not to. But this movie really got me on that. People really hyped the first one and then said this one was even better. It's fucking not. This movie drained my life force. It sucked the whole fucking life out of my veins.
Oh, Malort.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
I'm drinking some Coors
Coors Light. That, my boy, is called a silver bullet.
That's called the giving up drink.
Juice. What do you got?
Dishonorable mentions. I will say my first one that has not been brought up so far, Annabelle 3. Annabelle comes home and drops a deuce.
Annabelle parties down.
Yeah. This movie is God damn it, this movie wasn't just boring as shit. For a movie that teased like we're gonna unleash all of these ghosts, it was just so goddamn boring. And what they've done is, since they're making so much of these,
what have they done?
Since they're making so many of these movies, it's like, we're gonna subvert your expectations. We're gonna set up these classic haunting shots where you think a jump scare is about to pop out, but instead of the jump scare popping out, nothing happens. Instead, like, they set up these shots and they're like, oh, no. And then nothing happens. And then they just give you random jump scares later, not even set up, and that aren't even attached to the setup.
Yeah, but it was pretty good though, right?
Dude, it's not good.
Okay.
It's not good. Even like they try to introduce like the boat guy, the ferry or whatever, and the ferryman, and none of them looked particularly interesting. The werewolf thing was like maybe the most, but then it was like it didn't fit with the tone with the rest of it. The werewolf didn't quite.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
And then there was like the bride. None of it was particularly interesting. All of the scares,
the bride,
were just cheap ass jump scares that weren't even set up. They set up like at least like 10 times. They would set up these shots like, oh, it's about to scare you, and then just not, because we're on to them. And then we just throw them in later. It was bad. Annabelle 3, it's bad. They need to stop making. I didn't see La Lloronas or whatever, but I heard it was kind of the same kind of deal.
Not a lot going on.
Yeah, not a lot going on. Just kind of boring as shit, which is what we said about The Nun. Like, it's not scary. It's just fucking dumb.
The Nun started strong, but then took a wicked dump on my face.
Whoa. Another one, Glass. Of course, damn. I tried to warn Bob.
Bob's top 10 pick.
Bob's top 10. But Glass, of course, just completely shit the bed. Nobody could explain what Shyamalan was even trying to think and doing. I don't know, man.
What are you even trying to think?
What are you thinking, Shyamalan? I did not like Glass, and this is going to be controversial. I know. And this is, honestly, this is kind
Casablanca.
I feel like this is my Halloween-esque movie of 2019. Dr. Sleep.
Ooh.
I thought it was like what they did with that squad of like smoke eaters or whatever. The fog. It's
smoke eaters.
I just
Holy shit.
I thought it was lame.
Name
as
of
shit.
Slack channel.
Squad of smoke eaters.
I thought it was lame
Eat
as
my
shit.
smoke.
I thought the effects were bad. I thought the plot points were bad. I just didn't like Dr. Sleep. And I am always like baffled when people put it like in their top 10 and like praise it. I'm just like, it was long
seen that a
and
lot?
boring. And
Yeah.
I have.
Really?
Yeah,
I haven't
have.
seen any. Like, I haven't seen a ton, but
Yeah, I've seen it. It
Yeah.
has made people, and I'm just left wondering why. Like, I just can't see the redeeming qualities of this movie.
I
know.
don't think it's that great. I probably like it better than you,
Yeah.
but it's
I definitely do.
it
But I
obviously
also-
didn't make my list either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would never put it on my top 10
Yeah.
ever.
Never.
I-
So yeah, it's going. It's the one of those ones where I just kind of throw my hands up and go, I don't get it. I don't know. Like
I don't really get it either.
Yeah.
Mad
It's a
shouts
fucking
outs.
good X-Men movie.
I got to give mad shouts outs to Alex Esso yet again for fucking killing it in that movie, even though she's only in it for like a couple minutes. You know, I thought she did a great job.
I know she's listening.
I thought she did a great.
This is Rob's love song to Alex.
Yes.
All right. So those were my dishonorable mentions. Bob, what movies did you hate this year?
Pet Cemetery.
Yeah, I get that.
Sucks some dicks.
Oh, wow. How many?
Some ghost cat dicks.
Dear Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it just that's like a movie that just like didn't really land on any level for me. It wasn't very scary or spooky or original or really anything. I don't know. It just it just felt boring as hell, and it was like very gray. Everything was just gray as shit and felt like it didn't carry much weight at all. There's like maybe one or two decent scares, but I don't know. It felt kind of like a money grab type remake. Like, oh, Stephen
sure,
King is
yeah.
popping. Let's fucking do
He's
this.
popping for like the
this
fourth
year.
time in his career.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It just it didn't land for me. Also, fucking Glass. Glass sucks so hard.
Bob.
It's so bad.
Top 10.
It is so bad. Fucking Deuce Willis shit in the bed on this. It's just
It wasn't his fault.
well,
It was there was a lot of fault to go around.
Poor Spruce.
I will never not blame Bruce a little bit.
yeah, more like Deuce. Shyamalan just kind of fucked everything. He fucked the bed. He took the bed and fucked it.
He said,
Yeah.
you know,
Terrible.
let's not do everything that I promised, and instead
Right.
just hang out in this one place the whole movie.
Shyamalan, more like doo-doo Milan.
Oh, sure.
You know what? That's hilarious. Doo-doo,
Bob.
Milan.
Doo-doo
Yeah,
Milan.
he set up all these interesting characters, and you're like waiting for the big climactic thing in the third movie. You're like, oh my god, it's gonna be great. And then fucking
Oh my god.
dick happens in that movie. And
Dick
it's
sure
fucking
happens.
sucks.
Yeah,
Yep.
they don't do a whole
Is
lot.
that the last one for you, Bob? Or
He's got one more.
Deuce Willis. No, that's it. I just got the two.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
can we do just? I don't know if you guys have a list, but I have a long list of movies I still want to see from this year.
I don't.
I could just rattle them off.
I don't,
That's-
Randy.
It's for just movies that I'm waiting
Thanks
to
for
see.
talking about this before the cast with us.
It's very helpful.
I tried. I tried. Nobody was interested.
Do
Well,
your thing.
Daniel
Randy.
Isn't Real, Bliss, Little Monsters, Climax, Satanic Panic, Ready or Not, Black Christmas, The Banana Splits Movie, Pilgrim, The Perfection, Beelzebub, The Hole in the Ground, Life Changer, In the Tall Grass, and Velvet Buzzsaw are all films to get to. So I don't know.
Was that Santanic Panic?
Santanic Panic?
Panic.
Oh shit! So smooth.
I watched 60 new releases this year.
Jesus.
60.
Oh, we'll get to that.
I mean, I feel like we just got to 10 of them.
Can we save a life?
Yeah,
Is it time? So that was our top 10
that's it.
of the year.
We did it.
2019.
We did it.
We made it. We did a top 10 of the decade. We got the bracket of blood. Now we have our top 10 of 2019. Bob,
There's only one thing left to
it's
do.
time to save a life.
It's time to save a life for the last time.
For the last time.
Where did Bob go wrong? Worrying his friends, sifting way too long through those Blu-ray bins. And it gets worse, he'll have no jet ski, wasting all his dough on those DVDs.
Justin, do your dumb shit.
Bob, this has been a wonderful segment that we have been exploring for the past 7 months now.
It's been a segment.
This has been Bob's intervention. Bob spends a ton of money
It's not a ton.
on
It's a manageable
It's
quantity
multiple
that is very
tons of
responsible.
money.
I'm buying physical media, mostly in the form of Blu Rays, 4K,
Unwatched Blu-ray.
some DVDs. Yeah,
Dividends.
since we've shown up in Saxonville, Florida, we have explored Bob's collection in person, and many of them are unopened.
I would
unwatched.
like to add to that. Literally everybody has said, "Wow, I thought there'd be more."
Yeah,
Sorry to disappoint.
there were.
Well, you know,
They're spread out. You got them spread throughout the house.
you got them some hidden in the back of the toilet. It's
Some,
like,
yeah.
it's really fucked
Yeah.
up.
So, we have been tracking Bob's purchases to show him, because I don't think Bob quite realized how many Blu-rays he purchased. And Rob gives us a lot of shit. And yet, when people see Rob's collection, whether they say, "Oh, I thought it would be more," or not, Rob always prefaces it with, "Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem." I can't tell you how many times I've heard that over the past couple days.
Also,
Whatever,
some
man.
things that were also said
Whatever.
were, wow, just in 2 years? Just since we last lived together? Holy shit.
I don't know
Some
who
odd
said that. Nobody said
utterances that
that.
might have happened.
So Bob, he just can't take it anymore. This is the last time we'll be doing this segment. And actually, Bob's turning his negative into a positive. The druggie has become the drug dealer.
Oh, he's dealing.
In the fact that, Bob, you are starting your a little sister podcast. Well, I don't know why I called it a sister.
Oh, because it's
Could be a brother.
Side podcast.
it's not a brother.
Where you will actually be talking at length about your purchases.
Hashtag facts.
Let's get physical.
Yeah, we got a little sideshow going on here called Let's Get Physical
Okay.
Media.
Yeah, ooh, media.
Yeah.
We're talking
So
physical
you're
media.
So it's not
turning
about
this
your
segment.
Runkeeper.
Okay.
It's not about my run keeper.
So
no.
we won't be around to give you shit about it.
No.
But you'll actually... Do you think it will encourage you to buy? It'll be an incentive for you to
well,
buy even more
I think
Blu-rays?
what Rob was looking for was a place that would not hold him accountable for the DVDs he was purchasing.
I have a co-host that is very much an enabler.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Enable one another. You've created this monster. by the
I
way.
did.
I would like for you to
I
know
did.
this is your fucking fault.
It's a
man.
direct rejection to your interest in his financial well-being.
I'm saying fuck you, Dad.
Okay.
That's what's
All right.
happening.
Oh, he's dad.
Yeah.
Well,
Diddy.
Interesting.
Diddy stain.
Man, there's a lot being
Ooh.
revealed on this episode of the podcast.
So in order to do a proper send-off, this whole thing had a purpose.
It did.
Bob, we were trying to track your Blu-rays because in the first few months, you were surprised. We asked you, Bob, are you surprised by how many Blu-rays you're purchasing?
Apparently,
You
I said yes. Apparently.
You did.
This is what I'm
You
being
said
told.
many things.
I'm not surprised anymore.
Including...
I was such a fool.
You said many things, including that the number of Blu-rays you would later purchase in later months was insane. But that's neither here nor there. Let's see what we have found. We have been
What have we
tracking
found?
Bob's Blu-rays
The findings are
purchases
calculating.
since June.
Yeah.
And our whole goal was to see, could have Bob just bought a straight chillin' jet ski
This segment is dumb.
had he just saved his Blu-ray
That's
money?
real resentment on the
So, let me break
How
down
dare
the
you hold me
numbers
accountable?
Break it down.
for you. I have to do some quick math.
This feels
And
like very personal.
it does it? And yet you're still spinning it into your own
Hey, Bob,
podcast.
how's that
Bob.
trilogy treating you?
It's hey man. I'm a responsible adult.
All right, so I'm going to have Randy take a look at this with me.
I'm looking.
So here's what we got. I want to show Randy and explain how I'm breaking this down.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Bob, your total in the last 7 months. 158 horror Blu-rays
That's not that bad.
have been purchased. You
That's
don't think so?
okay.
Okay.
So I see, the tolerance has gone up.
So here's what we're doing. Since we didn't start until June.
Oh. Average.
158
I'm watching.
Yeah.
divided by, Randy, that's 7 months.
Math.
'Cause we
That is
kinda
7
June,
months.
July,
That's quick-
August, September.
quick
What's
math.
our average,
December.
Juice?
Okay. 22.57 Blu-rays a
Not
month.
even one a day.
Oh, to keep the
okay.
jet ski
Get outta
away.
here.
Okay, hang on. Let's then say that that's an average for Bob, even though I feel
On
like
average.
Rob got a little buffer because we're recording this on the 22nd, so he didn't even quite finish December. And
to be clear, I have nothing ordered.
He didn't.
Nothing is coming my way.
Okay. But a dude does get gift cards.
A
I
dude
feel like
gets gift
January
cards,
would have
buddy.
blown us out. But let's just
The
say
asshole is blown out.
Let's-
Come
Let me
shit.
blow you out in January.
Let's just say Bob keeps an average of this. So let's then multiply that number by 12.
Oh, boy. Holy fuck.
Okay. If you would have
Okay.
kept an average, Bob, that means you would have purchased 270 Blu-rays in a year.
That's a lot.
That's almost
That's a
one
lot.
a day.
270.85.
Now, here's the thing.
Almost 271.
And I feel like
That's a
this is
lot.
fair. I know Bob's going to fight me, and I want to justify this number. I've put a lot of thought into this.
You clearly have.
We need to set some standard for could Bob have purchased a jet ski?
Okay.
Okay, that's our thing. And Bob, I was fair. I didn't pick a
Top tier.
I didn't pick a Craigslist. You come pick it up. I want Randy to look at this advertisement that I have.
Oh, no.
This is a 2019 brand new Sea-Doo Spark.
Oh, no.
2 UP
Becky is laughing from the other room.
900 ACE. I don't know what that is, but this I will give you.
No,
I'm guessing it's a jet ski.
CyclesSpringsOnline.com. This
Cycle
is a
Springs.
brand new 2019 Sea-Doo Spark.
It's a watercraft.
Don't reveal this, Randy. Don't reveal this.
I'm not.
It's brand new. Okay. And
Okay.
here's how I thought it was fair. I have looked at some of the purchases that Bob had mentioned. I've gone back and listened to some episodes, some of these steel books that he's bought. And let's be fair. Sometimes Rob says, oh, it was cheap. And I got the Wicker Man for 50 cents. And I got
Yeah.
these. Okay. That's
Yeah.
fine. I understand, Bob.
Not
All right.
an average.
But here's the thing. Many times Randy has brought up, why are we only counting horror DVDs? And you yourself have brought in huge stacks.
I bring it to the table.
Of Kick-Ass 2,
Kick-Ass.
Pirate Radio,
Yeah.
all of these extra DVDs. So I feel like this is fair. I'm taking your 270.
Okay.
Okay. And I've looked at some of the prices that you bought from Vinegar Syndrome and things like that. I'm going to average out
Okay.
at $20.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's fair, Rob.
I think that's fair considering we're not counting all the horror DVDs.
We're not counting.
I think that fills the buffer.
well, there's
spot.
nothing but horror counted.
It's. I think it. I actually think it's a little high, but not astronomically.
Not
high. I would say like
astronomically
maybe
high.
15.
And considering the fact that you also have other DVDs purchased or other Blu-rays
Okay.
purchased.
this whole thing sucks.
Okay. So Randy
I see
has
that.
seen
Okay.
the math I've done. He has
Yes.
confirmed these things.
yes.
First,
Things have been confirmed.
First, I will reveal,
Oh,
Bob,
God.
with that standard you have agreed to is fair. Fair
Agreed
enough.
my ass. But okay.
Do you disagree?
Bob,
Yeah.
you're
Not enough.
I won't argue. It
Not
won't hold
enough.
up in court.
Bob's overall average for the year. Becky is waiting in anticipation. I know everyone is.
Everyone.
Bob's average for the year. $5,417. Randy, how much is this brand new 2019 Sea-Doo Spark?
This shit ain't new, buddy, and it's $5,399.
Bob! You could have had yourself a brand new 2019 Sea-Doo Spark.
I'm out of control, baby.
Complete with all the straight chillin' decals.
Whoa, decals were not included,
Whoa,
motherfucker.
Bobby.
Now we're talking.
Do you
Trey.
have any? Are you going to have a change of life now? Has this
No!
intervention helped you at all?
I don't want a jet ski.
Oh
Bob,
my God!
are you
Now we know what it's going to be like
surprised?
if Rob's ever on coke. It's just going to be talking to a brick wall. Your mother's very disappointed, Rob.
She isn't, and you know that.
So it has been confirmed. Bob could have bought a brand new Sea-Doo this year.
And so when the apocalypse comes at the
damn.
January 2020,
The crazy thing is, all
Rob will
those
not be able
movies
to
are a
see-do
tax
his-
write-off because this is work, motherfucker.
tax write-off. This is not work. We don't
Fuck
make
you,
enough
Uncle
for this to
Sam.
be work.
Oh, Bob, you don't think you could ride off a jet ski?
No. What am I doing? Flips? People paying me? No.
Oh yeah, you're right. The jet skis are way more entertainment as opposed to movies.
So,
Yeah.
Bob,
We're done.
It's
Done with that.
official. You could have bought a brand new Sea-Doo
And it's time for you to
Spark.
go on to greener pastures where that
Yeah.
sort of thing is tolerated by people who don't wish the best for you.
We hope you don't spiral out of control, Rob. We hope next year you couldn't have bought 2 jet skis. We'll see.
Your whole fleet of jet skis is in the balance, Bob. I hope you make good decisions.
This is, I've said this before, but I feel very seen.
Okay.
I This shit is slightly uncomfortable.
SCENE?
Okay.
Huh? What?
SCENE?
Bob.
No.
I feel very seen.
One last time,
No, not that scene.
since it's since we're feeling a little sentimental here.
Sentimental.
Sentimental.
We are sentimental.
You know what? Let's take a shot of Malort in celebration.
I will not. I will not. That will not
It's a
ever enter my
sentimental
body again.
shot, though.
It will. No, Jepson. God damn.
Oh.
Bob,
What?
have you watched the Blade trilogy?
No! You know I haven't.
Bob, you purchased it. I actually went back and listened. You actually purchased it in July.
Oh, dude, I've seen the first 2 movies. I've never seen the third one. That was absolutely way cheaper than $20, by the way. It was like maybe $5.
But if you combine that with Kick-Ass 2 and
Which was like
Pirate
$2.
Radio,
Oh my God.
Toy Story 4.
I don't own Toy Story. I've never seen that movie. I don't have it.
Thanos.
Now
You've
you're
never
Hands
seen
of
Blade
Fate.
Trilogy either,
Oh
Bob.
my God!
Just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean you don't own it.
Just
Manny-
because.
When Hurricane Dickweed comes around and you need a quick escape, you're not going to be riding the Blu Rays
Hey,
out of town.
when a hurricane comes to town, I'm fucking at work, son.
Eh.
I have a company issued jet ski that I
No,
can ride
okay.
all over town in.
Okay, Rob. If we're just going to make things up, we can just get you on meth.
Okay.
Well, that was the last Bob's Intervention Blu-rays.
We failed.
Thank you, Steve, for the
Yes.
Was it
the
Steve?
bump
for the
that we've
theme
been
song.
using.
The
The
Yeah,
theme song.
we're going to
for
miss
Bob.
that thing.
Yeah.
That was my favorite bump by far.
Yeah.
And we had nothing to do
Yeah,
with it
that's
at
why.
all
That is why.
whatsoever.
Yeah, we failed to save a life.
Yeah.
This
You
life is-
created a monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
He's rampaging through Best Buys all over town now.
In FYEs,
Yeah.
for the love of God.
Second in Charles's.
FYE.
FYE. That still blows my mind. If you're spending enough money to buy anything at FYE, you're overspending.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
So tell me about this new podcast
Yeah.
where you fillet yourself in front of the people.
yeah, keep your eyes peeled, ears peeled for that. It's called Let's Get Physical Media. Starting it up with Mikey, who's been on the show before. He's been on a handful of episodes.
Oh yeah, he
watch
made us
some
watch that
terrible
Serbian
films.
film.
Yes,
so.
he is the
Very
terrible
persona
bastard
non grata
that
around
made
here.
us watch that
Seems
movie.
like a good influence.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
seems like the kind of guy you really want to follow into oblivion.
That's what's happening. It's going to be a little sideshow. We're planning on releasing monthly. That's like the current plan. We'll see how that feels. Maybe more frequently, maybe less frequently, but we're going to start monthly. As you're listening to this show, that should be dropped in our Straight Chilling feed probably a few days after this. Maybe the first of the year, roundabout's what I'm thinking, dropping the first episode, first of the year. So that's going to be a little spinoff, a little extra audio for your ear holes, talking about all things physical media, of course, with a horror
If
focus.
you want to offset the incredible time and energy we spend into trying to keep Rob on the straight and narrow and into making this podcast, more importantly, there is one spot left on our You Pick the Flick tier.
Is there
right
one?
now.
Oh, there's one
just
left.
one.
Oh,
By
wow.
the end of this.
By the end of this
by the time this
recording.
airs,
Yeah.
which I forget isn't live.
Yeah. it
It's
literally
probably
never
gone.
is.
Yeah, I forget.
All right. Well, yeah, we got one spot
Or if
left,
you-
or maybe none by the time you're listening
Probably
to this.
none. But you can support us in other ways.
You can do that, yeah. I would like to, we've done a lot of shit this year. Just like briefly
God,
to
we've done a lot
recap,
of shit.
it's been a pile
you
of
just mean
shit.
stuff.
A Bigfoot pile of shit.
A Bigfoot, the biggest foot full of piles of shit.
Those are words.
4 inches of diameter of shit.
4 inches of diameter.
Of diameter.
That's a lot of diameter.
It's sentimental.
We've put out a show, at least one show, every week this year. Haven't missed a week. We
That's
put
crazy.
out 10
I
mini
missed
casts.
a week.
10 mini casts.
Okay.
We've done 2 live shows this year. One which was recorded and released as a bonus episode on our feed. We started the Bracket of Blood. We started the
Bracket of
YouTube
Blood.
channel. We started that last October, I guess, really.
yeah.
But
Started twitching real good.
started the Twitch channel.
Covered 10 games this year.
Yeah.
Some video game reviews.
Yeah, we did that.
Mm-hmm.
We
I've made thousands of graphics.
literally. That sounds not
sounds-
real, but it is real.
Oh, it's
That's
literally
pretty damn
thousands.
close to real.
Yeah. It's our Slack channel
New
has
merch.
grown significantly. New
We've
merch.
had lots of new merch this year.
Yeah.
We got
So-
the pins.
Yeah.
We got the
Enamel
Hard With
pins.
Us t-shirt.
Yeah.
We got the pumpkins.
You got
T-shirt.
pumpkins.
Pumpkins. I love love that shit.
Pumpkins.
There it is. But you got it
Pumpkins.
ready to go.
I can't
I got
believe
it.
we can actually hear the soundboard. It's
Pumpkins.
Wow.
It was a marriage to the beast.
Marriage
It was-
to the beast.
All in the name of Satan.
Give me something good to put in my sack.
Bob, you just got those ready.
I'm out of control, baby.
Bob's. I can't believe you haven't been using these this whole episode. It's like a dam has just been released. You should have been torrenting us with that.
I am now torrenting.
Pumpkins.
All right. God
The
bless.
A button is the pumpkins.
Shit, that is
Hallelujah.
true. That is true.
Rob has them triggered.
I don't know. We've I feel like we've done a lot this year.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of stuff. We've done all the like Joe Bob live watches. We had a Joe Bob Briggs interview, first
We did.
interview
That's
we've
true.
ever
I
done
still
on
can't
the
believe
show.
that shit.
Yeah, I don't know. Just big thanks to everybody that's been hanging out with us throughout the year and over the years. You know, we
This
appreciate
has by
all the
far
support.
been our biggest growth this year.
Yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
everyone for supporting us on all platforms.
Yeah, for sure. And hopefully you guys stick around for yet one more year of straight chilling, if not many more years.
We
of
got a
straight
new
chilling.
decade to go, baby.
Oh,
We're going to be
another fresh
covering this
decade.
in 10 years.
Fresh
I'm not going to be
decade.
making those. I'm outsourcing those graphics by that time.
Yeah.
Bracket of Blood 2.0.
Yeah.
In 10 years. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, we got to hear from some listeners we never heard from before. You know, via the voicemail segment, which we
Yeah.
started this year
Hotline
too.
Scream.
That was pretty cool.
From the further,
I really like that because there's, some people they'll reach out to us on like Facebook or Instagram or just various platforms, but then we get people that we have never heard of anywhere else before, but they'll call and leave a voicemail, and it's just like another way to meet people that listen to the show, and it's cool to actually hear them, actually hear them. I don't know,
Yeah,
it's-
and then we have their phone number so we can text them about MeUndies.
Manscaped.com or whatever. If you got an unruly bush,
Guys, come on. Don't piss off.
We're really just pissing
I'm trying
off
to sell out here.
guys. God, can we please
trying.
cash in already?
trying to sell out.
2020.
If you need a dick razor, go to dickrazor.com. Hashtag straight chilling, and I'll save you 20%.
Put in straight chilling at the promo code, and you will receive a dick razor just the same as everyone.
Straight chilling as the promo code, and you won't shave your dick off.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Thanks to everybody. Really, I can't believe that anybody gives a shit about what we do.
It's true.
It's never been something I've come to grips with.
Which is probably a healthy thing, I think.
Yeah.
But I don't. We love hearing from you guys, engaging with you guys, and talking about movies and all kinds of shit. If you've been listening to us somewhat regularly, leave us a rating and a review on iTunes.
I wish you could have seen the genial gesture that Rob just made.
Gosh darn it!
Gosh darn it.
Just
Well,
darn
leave
G.
us a
Willikers.
rating.
Just leave us a G. Willikers rating, would you?
Baba Louie, if you could just hop on over to iTunes and leave us a little bit of hashtag love, that'd
fuck.
be just gosh darn great.
All right.
Leave us a cock-a-doodle rating.
We would appreciate you. Hashtag appreciate you.
That's another thing birthed this year.
That's another thing. We got a lot of things that came out this year.
Hashtag hard with us.
Hashtag hard with us.
None of
From the
none
Lords
them
of
very
Chaos
transferable.
episode.
Yep. Hashtag DJ.
Are
Anal
you
Dogs.
hard with us?
DJ Anal Dog. I don't even know what that means anymore.
Dude, I don't
Hashtag
remember the
Daddy
origin
needs a
of
new
that.
blue.
Daddy needs
Daddy
a new
did
blue.
Diddy did a dirty.
Diddy did a dirty.
Sad dad complex as of last week.
Sad dad. I've got a sad dad complex.
It really turns me on.
Sad dads, they just really get me going.
They just get me right and rigid.
How long can we keep this going?
Oh, forever. Forever and ever. There's
Yeah.
really no cap.
Yeah, let's just keep talking for a few more hours and see what happens.
All right.
Boys,
well,
when
we're
will
going to have
we
another shot
ever
of
be
Malort if
back
we do
in the
that.
same room again?
Hopefully before 2 fucking years.
Maybe 2
Yeah.
more years.
That would be dumb. But
Maybe more.
Well, this has been the cleanest episode you've received
Holy shit.
in the past 2 years.
cleanest audio-wise,
I'm
but
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we're
Pretty-
filthy as fuck.
pretty dirty because we're fucked up on the Malort.
Oh, my Lord.
And
We're
the
going to close
soju.
out the episode with another shot of Malort. here.
No,
No, we're not.
I will not do that.
Nope.
I'm just going to keep suggesting, and then maybe eventually you'll go for it.
Get behind me, Satan.
What?
That shit's fucked up.
Get behind me.
What are we going to do? Call Ghostbusters.
What are we going
That's what we're
to
going to do.
do?
This is how we end the show. About 15 minutes of random babbling. And then now
That's about how it
we're
goes.
going to do it.
I think this is what the people want. They want us to prostrate ourselves and embarrass our bullshit.
Oh,
And we've
Bob,
done
we
it.
forgot to mention that since you hit the jet ski numbers, you are officially selling off your existing, since you're going to be buying so many new Blu Rays, you are selling off your existing collection to purchase the straight chilling
Oh,
jet
yeah.
ski.
Big reveal coming.
With the decals. That was the deal. That was the deal. Bob's living up to his end, everyone. I will say Bob is living up to his end. The collection is being sold. We're making sure he's getting fair prices. The
yeah.
Sea-Doo Spark, it's coming.
Every
It's
single
coming.
copy of Hocus Pocus is going to make its full
Every
value back.
single-
All 3 Hocus Pocuses, Bob, are going out.
Yeah, well, I'll go along with this for the joke. Yeah, I'm selling my
Oh,
shit, whatever.
joke.
Buying
Whoa,
a Blu-ray.
whoa.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
Here
blah.
it comes.
Every
Okay.
single copy of Hocus Pocus is it's going to
Wow.
be great.
Okay. So keep your eyes peeled for the straight
Okay.
chilling jet ski. It's coming.
It's
your eyes
coming.
peeled.
It's coming for you and your family.
We're going to be back in 2020. If you're ready. If you're
You know,
ready for us.
You ready?
If we make it that far.
Yeah, we're doing a new show. We're doing something a little bit different for the first show of 2020. This is something that we've been talking about on this show for years. Like literally
boy.
for a couple years at least. We've been referencing this Bigfoot documentary.
Oh boy.
It is called Bigfoot Monster Mystery.
Links will be provided.
Yes, it is currently on Amazon Prime as Bigfoot Monster Mystery. It's roughly 45 minutes long. It is hilarious in many ways.
If you have not followed our directions and watched this by now, it is the time to watch. If you're listening to this, watch it. Find it on Amazon. I believe it's also on YouTube, I'm told. Find it, look it up, watch it, and then listen to next episode. Right, Bubby?
Yeah, so this is definitely listed under different names on different platforms. So
Because it's very professional.
if you
and
pull
real.
it up and it doesn't immediately start with this random dude playing drums in the middle of the forest,
You picked the
then
wrong-
that's
Fucked
wrong.
up. Henry Franzoni. Look him up.
You're looking for Henry Franzoni, drummer extraordinaire. That's what you want. He is just going ham on that splash cymbal. That's
Yeah, he is.
You got to have it. So that's what we're going to be talking about first week of January 2020. It's going to be something you need to see. So seek that out. We'll try and provide some links just to make it easy on everybody. And until next year, please rate, review, and subscribe to us on iTunes. You can follow us on Twitter at STR8 _ chilling. We're on the Instagram at Straight Chilling Podcast. You can send us an email through our website, straightchillingpodcast.com. If you want to join in on the daily Slack conversations, let us know via any one of those social media platforms. I'll send you a link so you can jump in on that. Vote in the bracket of blood. And do all the other things that we're going to be doing, whatever those are. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year. All the things that you may or may not celebrate. I hope they're fucking dope. And bring in the new year right with some Malort. Jepson's Malort. Straight Chilling is brought to you by Jepson's Malort. That shit sucks. Pour it in the toilet.
No, we're drinking it all.
No,
can't.
that's never,
We will.
never going in me ever again.
What a way to end the year.
Definitely
Okay.
on the highest note.
Oh, God.
Until next year.
Oh, Malort.
As always, all you mother truckers, please keep chilling.